Sound on. So Luke doesn't have a push to talk button.
Sucker. It'll be fine as long as when you guys aren't sitting next to each other. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from the sunny north of Australia, Brisbane. This is the Gladiator Gaming Teams event. This is a one-day RTT3 gamer being streamed lovingly by myself, joined by the wonderful Nick Standing. How you doing, my man?
Yeah, man, going good.
Fantastic, Nick. This is your first time streaming along with us, but you're going to be a bit of a mainstay streaming for us up there at the moment. So, tell us a bit about the event. What's going on there? What are we streaming? What are we seeing?
Well, we've got a team event here, which I believe is the best way to play 40k. We're packed out. The event sold out in like an hour. So, obviously, I'm not the only one that loves team events the most. Yeah, it's pumping in here.
Freaking tastic. Who else are we joined by?
So we got Luke here from the Normal Blokes.
Fantastic.
How you going,
Lukey?
Thanks for having me. Yep.
Hopefully you have all listened to Lukey's dulcet tones with him and his mates over on the Normal Blokes 40k podcast, doing some fantastic work up there in Brisbane. Also, what have we got on? Who are we watching playing today on this round one?
All right, so we did a poll last night on down the pairings. On Art of War 40k.
Push to talk, my boys. Push to talk. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, right. So we did a poll last night, and James Keller actually is it James Fuller?
James Fuller,
and
yeah. AK.
James Fuller went together, got all his family, and they voted for him. So he's got himself on the stream table here. So we've got them against Art of War 2.
So that is the man James Fuller. He stacked the deck, literally called in, roped in all his family. I hope they're watching him here today. I hope they're actually tuning in to watch. So we're actually watching him right now as well. He's on the stream table in front of us. We've got his Grey Knights deployed at the top versus Admech. Who's the gentleman playing the Admech? That is Andrew Kennedy, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. AK out of Toowoomba, I think he's called.
Fantastic. You want to do us you guys want to give us a quick run through of the different games, different tables, so you're able to click through the 4 tables we're able to give you guys coverage of, and we'll just quickly show you what the setup is and what we're going to be able to bring to you today.
Yeah, no worries at all. Luke is our technical expert here.
Oh, we're in good hands. Jeez. Odelay Sandwich. This terrain is legit, guys. This is by Knights of Dice, I believe. Lovingly painted up by Mr. Aaron Green. Doing some phenomenal work. So this looks like a demon on. This is like Chaos on Chaos Hate. We've got Dan Savage versus Andy Mulholland. So Chaos Demons versus Heretic Astartes. It looks like deployment has happened and possibly a turn 1 for CSM has occurred already.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Dan took turn 1. He's moved up, looks like Lord of Change and a Keeper of Secrets, trying to take some map control. But it's currently in the opponent's turn 1, sorry, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, we can already see in the bottom right-hand corner, that Keeper has made a lot of distance. He's hit right into the bottom right-hand corner already. It's only turn 1. Those things cover a hell of a lot of ground on these smaller tables. What's the next game we got on?
So I think next one we got is Paul versus, I can't see who it is.
Just switch it onto the screen, mate. Onto the scene. The scene will come up with it. Paul Gurney versus William Milton. So that is that's the Custodes versus Marines. Is that correct? Iron Hands?
Yeah, Iron Hands by the looks. Yep. Paul's brought his Iron Hands to a lot of tournaments. He's running the. He normally runs the what's it called, the Contemptor Dreadnought or the Relic Contemptor Dreadnought. Leviathan.
Yep, he's got one. The Levy.
He normally runs Leviathan, but that's not allowed anymore. And now he's got the Contemptor in there. So yeah.
Well, he's got the Contemptor in the bottom right-hand corner. Is that 2 twin las cannons on there?
I think he has the 2 twin las. Yeah.
We'll double check it. We'll run through the list properly once we settle in. And I believe, is that the last table to show us, or is there one more?
I believe there's one more. I think we're currently having a bit of trouble with the camera on that one, though. It doesn't seem to be registering currently, but we'll get it up as soon as we can.
And ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Diffster.
Hey, Diff.
Tables.
So for those unaware, we are joined by the wonderful Josh Diffie, for which none of this would be possible. He's our guy, Monkey, working in the back. You ever see that monkey off Discworld, the librarian, the one with the glasses, He always gets shit done. That's Josh Diffie. He just literally just gets shit done, and he's been lovingly putting all these things together for us. So everyone cast your mind to the top right hand corner. These are two lovely men on the floor. On the left you have Nick Standing. On the right you have Luke Pearce. Below that you will see the names of the people on the current scene. So right now we're seeing Paul Gurney versus William Milton. Below that you have their armies. So Adeptus Astartes versus Adeptus Custodes. Below that you'll have the primary school, and then listed below that will be their secondaries. A lot of work has gone into this, guys. And below that again you'll get the total VPs, total battle points, and the turn that they're currently on. And then if you wish to cast your mind below the actual scene, below the table in question, you will see the scores from the other 3 games in this round for the 2 teams that we are covering. So this is a phenomenal effort by Josh. Last thing though, and this can't go without saying, right in the bottom right hand corner below the scorecard, you will see the fantastic and fabulous sponsors of this stream, of this team, and the people who've been able to make this possible. So in the back over to Nick. Tell us a little bit about this event. Tell us about the Gladiator Gaming Series. Tell us a little bit about Art of War, if you will.
Yeah, no worries. Well, Gladiator Gaming is obviously held by Josh McGowan. It's a new thing that he's got going up here. This is maybe even the first event that he himself has run here, and it's definitely the first team event that he's run here. Art of War, as everyone knows, is one of the best coaching. What am I looking for? One of the best coaching
services.
Yeah, that's it. One of the best coaching services in 40K. Probably the coaches that are in there are, without doubt, some of the best players in the world, and we've got most of them here with us today.
Yeah, from the Australian contingent, we do have Mr. Aaron Green. We do have Dan Savage, yourself, of course, Nick. We also have who else is playing from Art of War? We have the legendary Eric Lathuris also, and then of course there's you yourself, Nick, and me. I'm joining you guys remotely in from the lovely and roasting Ballarat, Victoria, Australia. But people in the chat, please let us know if there's a game out of this quad, this series of 4 that you'd like us to focus on in particular. Otherwise, we will just chop and change as the wind blows. But we do we have that 4th table up and going, ready to go?
I'm currently playing with the camera. I'll see if I can get it working.
Give it a little fiddle. Give it a tickle, Luke. You're so handsome, you probably can't resist. But if we were willing to switch back to our first table, table 1, because I believe the only one we're missing out on is the Joshua McGowan game versus Reese Pinata, and that is Necrons versus Blood Angels. I'd be very interested to know in the pairings how these things have come out, because I'm of the opinion Joshua McGowan's playing a list that wants to be put up first, that wants to be the first put up, and then cop a negative matchup, and he's going to play in the underdog position. I think that's his favorite mode. He loves squeezing points out of a hard spot.
Definitely. That also just massively suits his playstyle as well. So I don't know how much offense power he's got out of that Necron list that he's got there. But he does have a lot of survivability sitting on objectives.
Oh, yeah, no one's going to clear him. But the thing is, though, his opponent's running 2 big Sang Bombs. He's running Blood Angels. He has a lot of impact power. He has a lot of front-loaded power, which is actually really good at clearing off Necrons, because the issue is you want to deal with Necrons in 2 different ways. Maybe you'll agree, Nick. You either want to chip, and then take a huge bite and wipe the unit, or you just want to hit them once, wipe them the first time. A lot of armies, like you get 9 Scarabs on a table. A lot of armies can't hit 9 Scarabs and wipe them in one turn. But there's a possibility that freaking maybe Blood Angels can, like a full Sanguinary Bomb with all the trimmings might be able to get the job done.
Yeah, well, that's true. And he's got 2 Sangbongs from what I remember. And he's also got those interceptors there. So he's got a lot of damage output.
He does. Yeah, it's a very interesting match. So that's our 4th table. We're switching to that one as soon as we get that camera up and going. In the meantime, just going to take a little bit of coverage of the game we're watching in front of us. So Mr. Paul Gurney, looks like he's going into his turn. I believe this would be maybe even a turn 2. We've got on the left-hand side, I believe that's 3 multi-melter attack bikes.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. What's interesting to me out of this game, he's got that big 10-man Terminator squad that's sitting behind in that ruin there.
So he's actually deployed. He hasn't left in reserve.
No, I don't think so. They look like they're deployed because they're sitting in the ruin there, and they're also in front of the...
Awesome. So I'm just going to quickly run down his list for us all so we can get a bit of perspective. So this is William Milton. He's got a Caladius Assassin. Apologies, wrong guy. I'm looking at the Custodes list. I'm on the Custodes. I might as well give it to it. So he's playing Shadowkeepers. He's got a Caladius Assassin. He's got a Shield Captain Donny Jet Bike with the Auric Aquilus, so that is the 3+ invuln. He's also a Captain Commander with Superior Creation, Unstoppable Destroyer. He's also his Warlord. He has 1, 2, 3 units of Custodian Guard, 1 with 3 shields, 1 with 2 shields, 1 with 2 shields. Then he has a unit of Aquilin Terminators with the Solarite Power Gauntlets and Lastrum Stormbolters. I think there's a 5-man with the -1 hit banner, and then a big unit of Black's 5 salvo launcher, Virtus Praetors, and rounding it out, the big bad boy himself, the Telemon Heavy Dread, with a Accelerator Cauldron and a Punchy Fist. I quite like that
Yeah, I
list, mate.
like
What
it
do you
as
think of it?
Custos player myself. I see it very similar role in Josh McGowan's list. It's going to be there to block, just be annoying, just not give up any points.
Exactly right. It's very hard to come to grips with. Like you think about, oh, cool, I'm going to block in these Praetors, I'm going to block them down and get stuck into them, and all of a sudden get countercharged by the the goddamn Aquilian Dreadnoughts, and I get absolutely mulched. Now, on the flip side of that, let's have a quick look at the Iron Hands list. So we got Mr. There we go. We got Mr. Paul Gurney. He has got a battalion of Iron Hands, of course. He has Iron Father Feros, because, why wouldn't you if you're not going to play a successor? He's got a Librarian in Terminator armor, who has Blessing of the Machine God and Psi Steel armor. He also has the Gorgon's Chain as the relic. He has 2 units of Intercessors. They just look pretty stock standard 5 dudes. He's got 1 unit of Tactical Marines. Maybe needed to squeeze an extra 10 points there, but they have a Melter Gun on top. And then he has a unit of Assault Centurions. Jesus, do you ever think we see one of those again in this day and age, Nick?
Well, they're actually pretty popular up here. I know Steve Wade, the Silver Surfer himself, he's been busting them out with some real great success. I think he top 3 in the last tournament we had here with a bunch of them, and he's doubled up on them. He's now got 5 in his list.
Dude, fantastic. Yeah, they're a bit of a sleepy. If you're willing to pay the points, I think Iron Hands is one of the few armies that can still get away with taking them. I think between Iron Hands and White Scars, are probably only 2 that can realistically make them do something like what they used to do. But to round out this list, he has a Primaris Apothecary, extra Warlord trait, and relic. Of course, he is going to be a Chief Apothecary with Selfless Healer. He also has a Paragon of Iron and Target Protocols. And he's got a Relic Attempted Dreadnought with All the Flesh is Weak, all the goodness there. He also is the hero of the chapter. He is a character, and 2 Twin Las Cannons. Then he has a unit of Relic Terminators. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, the full complement of 10 with half with Chain Fists and Combi Bolters. The other one's just with Power Fists and Combi Bolters. Then he has 3 Attack Bikes with Multi Melters and a Devastator Squad, all with Multi Melters. And lastly, rounding it off, he has a unit of Eradicators and a Drop Pod. So you'd assume that's the Devastators and a Drop Pod, of course, and maybe also the Tactical Marines. I just realized you could probably put the Tactical Marines and the devs in the pod, which would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a bit of a go-to play at the moment, definitely, having those extra dudes. A bit of OBSEC as well.
Sorry, Nick, can't hear.
Yeah, mate? Yeah, that's obviously his go-to play there, having those tacks in that drop pod there. Bit of extra OBSEC floating around, which Marines love.
He's got it looks like he's being pretty nuanced with his movement phase here at the moment. He probably wants to make sure there's no deep strike shenanigans that can happen. Realistically, though, the 5-mana Quillen unit can come down and double shoot and actually do a hellacious amount of damage to Marines in the right circumstances.
Yeah, definitely, especially now that they're strength 10 as well, and they've changed to flat 2 damage.
Yeah, exactly right. Luke, you rejoined us, mate. What are your thoughts? Oh. Luke, stop talking. All we're getting from Luke is a lovely beeping noise. I don't know what that is about. You try and talk again for us, Luke? Yeah, that's no good. That's no good at all. That's a special kind of fun I've never experienced before. I do not know why that is happening, but I think that is hilarious. Luke has been replaced by some kind of irritating bird, and will be joining us shortly.
His input needs changing. There we go. They're on it. The technical genius that is Diffie is all over it.
He'll fix that. That is freaking hilarious. If he rejoins us and just does it again, I'll laugh my ass off. But looks like we've got some aggressive play by these multi-melters. They're scooting up on the left-hand side. He wants to get... He's throwing that unit away. But admittedly, if that goes in, if they kill 3 bikes with that unit of 3 attack bikes, that is 100% worth it. The issue is, though, he's going to get charged. If he lays an egg here, he's going to get stooping dived, and his opponent's just going to pick up those attack bikes for literally free.
Yeah, man. As a Custo player, that's what you feed on. Dudes just sitting on objectives. Dudes forgetting that you can run heroically intervene, that you can swooping dive, you can do all these things to just take the objectives back from them when they think they safely have them.
Can bikes intervene, or is it only infantry that can intervene?
No, it's only infantry, I think. But
they can stooping dive. And stooping dive is so freaking strong, man. So amazingly strong. It looks like you've got the assault centurions have moved up into the middle of the board, being backed up by some intercessors. I'd assume his characters are sitting inside that ruin still behind them. At minimum, I'd assume the apothecary's in there. To the right, what are you seeing in front of there? That's the unit of 10 Terminators, and then the Contempted Dread. On top looks like another unit of intercessors. I can't see any characters, which is why I'm assuming they're either underneath the intercessors on the right or they're inside the building below the assault.
You're right there. He's got the Chief Apothecary and he's got the Tech Marine sitting inside that building on the objective.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. We're able to switch to another table. We'll come back to this one and actually see how this pans out. I'll be surprised if those attack bikes are still there at the end of this turn, or two, the Virtus Predators are gone. But quickly, Nick and Luke, what's your prediction from this one? Do you think the Custos will take it in the end, or do you think it's looking good for the Iron Hands?
Well, it's pretty hard to say on that one. I would probably look at the Custos, man. Will's a pretty good player. I've played him before. Just personally, the Marine dude looks to be a bit passive to me. He doesn't seem to be getting aggressive enough. What he is getting aggressive enough with is only like a single little unit, like you said, that's more than likely just going to get tagged and killed. So
maybe he's just using that to soften up though. If he can go in and kill 2 bikes with that unit, then it looks like he has killed 1 bike. We just saw 1 picked up then. But if he can pick up like 1 or 2 bikes now, he loses the unit. But next turn the drop pod comes in and finishes that unit off quite comfortably, I believe.
And Luke,
yeah,
can
definitely.
you beep once for yes and twice for no?
Yeah, totally savage. That's a hilarious comment. Are you back with us, Luke? Oh, fantastic. No, you're good, mate. Mm. Nice. So we got Nick backing the Custos. We got Luke backing the Iron Hands, and I'm going to sit in the middle and say one of you guys is going to be wrong, and either way it goes, I'm going to be right. Yeah, the bisexual lover boy. That's what I am. But we are back with Mr. Kennedy versus Mr. Fuller. This is Admech versus Grey Knights. I'm going to hazard a guess and say the Grey Knights have gone first. Hmm. Fantastic. It looks like we've just had these secondaries put in. Looks like we've got a bit of a Josh, I don't know if you can see, but we've got a bit of a lining up issue. The secondaries on the right-hand side have been pushed up the screen a little bit. But as for those, we have Mr. Kennedy taking Deploy Scramblers, Line Breaker, and While We Stand, We Fight. And we have Mr. Fuller taking Raise the Banners, Engage on All Fronts, and Mental Interrogation. I think the Mental Interrogation was a good pick in this one. What do you guys think? Apparently, people can't hear Luke, by the way, also. In fact,
sorry, yeah, he's working on that.
Easy done. So, Nick, what do you think the mode is to victory for Mr. Fuller? I'm assuming we might have some of Mr. Fuller's family in the chat. So what do you think his mode to victory is here?
Yeah, it's
a pretty imposing castle that the Admech has built.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, that robots, they put out a lot of firepower. So that's going to have to be something that James is definitely wary of there.
Yeah. I think James is like Grey Knights are uniquely placed in a lot of armies that they can reliably shoot down from out of line of sight, reliably shoot down Admech screens. We do know that things like Cerberus Raiders are literally the most annoying screen in the freaking game because not only do they run away when you try and charge them, they actually do a reasonable amount of damage if you just leave them there and try and ignore them. So I think due to the fact that things like Astral Aim, things like the buffing of the psi weapons and all the CP you can pump into them, you can reliably shoot these guys down or smite them down should he wish, which I think would make a big deal if he tries to go for a late commitment. Now, James's list, Nick, have you got that up for us? You able to do James's list for us and I'll do the Admech?
Yeah, just give me 1 sec, mate.
Oh, 1 sec. Jeez. Leaving us hanging, brother. That's all good. I've got it up and going, and
sorry, man. I'm not allowed to touch the mouse at the moment. Diffie's making magic happen.
All right, I got this. All right, so we have Mr. Andrew Kennedy. He's playing for Art of War 2. This is the Admech play. He's playing Forge Red Lucius. Very interesting choice. He's got a Tech Priest Dominus with the Warlord trait from Engine War Divinations of the Magos. Of course he does. And he also has a Tech Priest Manipulus. He has 5, 10, 15 Skitari Vanguard, 3 into 5, each one just with their Radium Carbines, bog standard. 2 into 3 Cerberus Raiders. a big unit of Castellan robots, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, all with the Fossil Blast for goodness. He has a Scorpius Disintegrator. And then he has a Patrol Detachment of Lucius with a Daedalosus, a unit of Cataphren Destroyers with heavy grav cannons, and another unit of Castellan robots, all again with the Fossil Blaster. So that is 8 Castellan robots across 2 units. Then he has another Scorpius Disintegrator and another Cerberus Raider. I'm a bit interested in this army. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but this army could just be 1 battalion, couldn't it?
Yes, I believe it could have been.
And saved himself 2 CP?
Yes.
Yes, he could have. No, the only thing he would have gone over, he would have lost 1 heavy support slot. Because he's got 4 heavy supports. So he's made that conscious decision. He would rather have the second Disintegrator rather than and lose 2 CP. And honestly, I don't blame him for that. Going from the change from starting with 12 to starting with 10, not that big a deal for AdMech in a lot of cases. Usually they front load a lot of their CP, and usually 10's enough to get what they need done. In his shooting, like I can't see a lot of dead Grey Knights, but in the same token, I can't see any dead AdMech. So I'm not quite sure who's gone first here. I did assume it was the Grey Knights, but I haven't seen a pound of flesh being taken out of the AdMech as of yet.
No, that's it. And I don't see much movement from the robots either. I would have liked to have seen those robots be a unit of combat robots.
Yeah, 1 unit of combat, 1 unit of shooting.
Or even just at least some fists in there, especially with the way the terrain is here. You can definitely hide some units. It's hard to get some lines of shooting and lines of firing going.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, with 2 units of 4 robots, you always run into the issue that 1 unit's just not going to be able to shoot for like 2 or 3 turns due to line of sight issues. Because that's what you would do. You would pick your line of sight and you would shoot for 1 robot. You'd line up. You see where the middle piece of terrain is here? And Eric's a great proficient of this, but you'd use the thing like your Land Raider, and you'd point your Land Raider at 1 robot. The only thing that can shoot you back, should you not kill it, is that 1 robot. And that is a really good way of taking care of these. And of course, you'll see how he's used them as well. He's strung out the bottom right-hand unit of them. They're strung out at max coherency across 2 objectives. I would love to have seen them kind of more in a pincer, 1 on the left-hand objective, 1 on the right-hand objective, and then one of them's always going to get value. The other one might not, but 1 always will. The other thing that Lucius can do, by the way, Lucius can deep strike. I'm surprised he didn't deep strike one of them.
Yeah, well, it's not like the GKs have much board control either, so it's definitely something he could have done.
We've seen the first of the robots being picked up from the right-hand unit, and Sunblind 123, you're spot on. So he's deep striking 1 unit of Cataphrons, I believe, and a Disintegrator. I believe that's it. I think everything else is on the table. He has 1 unit of Cataphrons to the left, the one with the grav cannons to the left of the centermost robot unit. But yeah, I can't see the Disintegrator for sure. That is off the table, unless it's already been killed. And I
think that's what I was about to point out. I think that's already been killed, and I think that's probably a good play there by James.
Gallon Day 860. What is this? Live 40k. Are you Jeff Goldblum? 40k. Yes, it is live 40k from the lovely Brisbane, Australia. My name is Adam. I'm part of the Art of War team. I run a little podcast called Art of War Down Under. We're joined by the lovely Nick Standing on the left and Luke Pierce on the right. Nick is also from Art of War, and Luke is from the Normal Blokes 40k podcast. Hopefully, you guys are joining us for a wonderful day of event. Luke and Nick, what is your hot tip for this one? I'm actually going to give this to James. I'm actually tipping the Grey Knights myself.
Yeah, I'm going to go GKs too. I'm a bit biased. I play Eric a fair bit, and he plays GKs, so maybe knowing what they can do with Eric at the helm could be different. But yeah, GKs have got some good shooting power.
Luke, you're going to go against this? You've dropped off the GK bandwagon, haven't you?
Yeah, so I just want to check. Can everybody hear me in chat?
Could somebody please confirm you can hear the red shirt dude talking? The handsome guy on the right? Red shirt dude, yeah.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, yeah.
They can hear you, brother. Go for it.
It's just... So Diffie's set my button to space, and every time he tries to edit the coding, I'm just spacing out everything he's typing.
Hilarious.
So I have to wait. But yeah, so basically... I vote for James. James is my boy. I've been trying to help him with some GK, so hopefully he can execute that today. He's playing it all right so far, but the AdMech player has done some good job. I think you'll find most of the time when you don't get first turn, if you don't take the advantage with GK by pushing up your units quite far, they can just zone you off the objectives, because basically your only way to get there is a deep strike or a 9-inch charge in most cases versus good players. So it's pretty hard to be able to get those middle board control if they push up. Like you can see he's put the Raiders halfway up the board, so it's basically just buffering his whole army, so you can't really do much.
I think the onus is really on James to make sure he keeps OBSEC on all 3 of his objectives. because unfortunately, yeah, at any time, at any point in the game, these service raiders can just close the gap and take objectives off you if you're not camping on them. But that does mean here there has to have guys sitting just literally just pissing in the wind, getting shot at by this whole admin gun line, or they have to be sitting out of line of sight, and then he only has one unit that's going to be putting astral aimed on. And I'm assuming, until I hear otherwise, that unit's always going to be the land raider for the time being, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, that's right. Have we spoken about what mission this is yet, Adam?
We have not. All yous, mate. Go for it.
I'm not sure what it is. That's what I was asking.
Beautiful. Luke, you're on it, mate. What mission we got? Tell the people what the secondaries are, etc., etc. But to jump over to James Fuller's list, which I don't believe we've covered yet. Sorry, Nick, did you have something to say?
No, you're good, mate. Keep going.
All right, man. So James Fuller, he has a chaplain who's taken Words of Power, Invocation of Focus, and is a Lawmaster for his war trait. Hence, he has 2 powers. He has Armored Resilience and the Edict Imperator. He also has a Stormbringer who's the Warlord. He has a Grandmaster Voldus, who has all the good ones: Warp Shaping, Imperium Domination, Inner Fire, blah blah blah. What you'd expect. A unit of strikes. This is a patrol, by the way. I believe is it a patrol. It's only got 1 troops choice. Must be a patrol. He's got a unit of strikes. Nothing special. What you'd expect: 5 guys with astral aim. Apothecary with a halberd and the Sanctic Shards. He's got +1 to cast. He also has a Purifier squad. Expecting 4 silencers. Yes, there's 4 silencers. They also have all with 4 Nemesis warding staffs. He has another patrol detachment. This one with Libby. He has the Artisan Nullifier Matrix and Purge Soul Vortex of Doom. He has Kaljaw freaking Drago as well. He has a big unit of, small unit Terminators, 5 Terminators, with just 1 silencer. And then he has his Paladin Brick, which is actually only 5 guys, which is a bit surprising.
No, it's actually 10 there, Luke.
It is. Yeah, it's 10. So it says 5 here, then it reels off 5 special weapons. So apologies. But he's got a mix. He's got 1 side cannon in there, 2 silencers. Why would you do such a thing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, firstly, he can have 1 more special weapon in there. So he's got the option to take a second. Like, if it was 2 silencers, 2 side cannons, okay, yeah, I could kind of understand that. But usually my preference would be either 4 of one or 4 of the other. And I usually prefer the silencers myself. He's got a Demon Hammer on the Paragon as well. And then lastly, he has a good old Godhammer pattern Land Raider with an additional multi-melter on top as well. Just probably because he had the points. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes. Considering he doesn't have the full complement of special weapons on the Paladin Bomb, the Land Raider is just going to get astral aimed every turn, because I don't think the other one is all that worth shooting every turn, because you're not going to get a massive amount of mileage out of the different profiles and the buffs, seeing as you only got the 3 guns instead of the 4. What are your thoughts? Does this change anything for your assumptions of the game, Nick?
No, I still think that I'm back in the GKs here.
Yeah, I'm definitely back in the GKs myself, just simply because I like them. I like them a lot. I like James. Me and James roomed at LVO. He's a good dude. He's probably got,
yeah, that's right.
He's probably got some stories about my antics at LVO as well. But anyway, we'll keep this for another time. We've just had a resizing of the secondary, so now you guys can all see what's going on there. Lukey, you here with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
You able to tell us about the mission and then gaze your eyes over the secondaries, give us your thoughts?
Oh yeah, so I sent it through. Oh, I keep sending Josh into the warp. So they're playing the Dawn of War mission. I actually don't know the name of it. I can never remember the name of them. But
Jeez.
Sorry, Adam. Sorry.
I got to do everything. That's fine. Keep going, man.
Yeah.
Is it Overrun?
I think it's... I don't know. I just remember the number of objectives and the layout. I can never remember the names, which is just embarrassing, right?
Professionalism in all things.
They're playing Overrun. Page 50.
Page 50 Overrun for all the viewers. Josh just filled us in on that one.
Yep, sweet. What do you think about the secondaries, Luke?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's... Oh, mate. Sorry, Josh. I think it's pretty good. So I want to see... So James took While We Stand We Fight. Did he? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He took Raise the Banners, Engage in All Fronts, Mental Interrogation.
Oh, interesting. I've in our talks with James, I always advise him to try and take While We Stand We Fight, because typically GK have characters that sit at the backfield, and you rarely get to kill them unless you kind of stuff it up a little bit. So I'm surprised he didn't take the While We Stand We Fight there. Mental Interrogation is okay. It just puts your characters in a risky spot, because you have to be within 18 inches, and against a shooting army when you can only really deep strike 1 unit, it's kind of rough.
So in this case, the While We Stand would be Drago, Voldus, and the Land Raider?
Yes. The problem is, I think in this matchup, the Land Raider would quite easily go pop.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's probably his consideration. He's like, well, if I pick that, I'm kind of resigning myself to only getting 10 points rather than the possible 15. So
Yeah.
maybe that's been his consideration. I would have taken the 10. Stuff it. I would have been like, stuff it. You can opt. They can. It makes them have to like try and go for the play for the Land Raider, and then you would just be like, okay, well, the Land Raider's going to stay out of line of sight. He's going to take the Astral every turn.
Yeah, and just exactly Astral return. But then, see, Mental Interrogate, I think you'll actually find he probably won't get more than 9 points max this game. So I think it's kind of a moot point.
Well, what about Andrew's ones? He's taken Deploy Scramblers, Line Breaker, and While We Stand.
So the Deploy Scramblers, I think you can do that really easy with the Raiders. The Line Breaker, similar thing. I'm guessing, does he have the Stygie? Not the Stygies, the Flying Boys?
No, he doesn't have the Flying Boys, but I was about to say the Service Raiders can't do Deploy. They're cavalry. You got to be infantry.
Oh, of course. Yes. No, you're right.
So he needs his Vanguard and his 1 unit of Cataphrons to get his Scramblers. I think that might be a mistake.
Oh, the Cataphrons running up the board? Yeah.
They're not going to make it. Not going to make it, brother.
What do you think?
I think Deploy Scramblers is also a bit iffy there too. Like, what has he got that can get into his deployment zone? Then also, like, Line Breakers is going to be a bit of an issue too. So 2 units into the backfield for 3 turns at least.
Let me just double check on the Deploy Scramblers. You guys keep going.
I was going to say, what's quite easy for James to do then was just shoot all the infantry, and then he's never going to... No thanks, James. And then he's never going to be able to get the Scramblers. 10 points gone, you know?
Well, he's never going to get Line Breaker either. What's he going to do? Put his Cataphron, his Castellan robots into his deployment zone?
Yeah, I think Line Breaker is a big issue here.
I think both of these. I think if James is clever, he stays in the ruins. Astrals kills all the infantry, and he would have taken while we stand, and he could have just literally stolen his 3 objectives. They both get like 40. Sorry, they both get 45 for primary, and James will just win on secondary objectives.
And a big one here. Did he forget Arbor the Witch? Like.
No, oh wow, he didn't take it.
Like it's just the easiest
He didn't take it before. He would have been 15 points, like starting at 15 points.
Yeah, I think that's
very interesting.
An oversight.
Yeah,
yep.
I think that's a little bit of an oversight. Yeah, so I'm very questionable on Andrew's secondaries, but maybe he's onto something that we're not seeing.
Sorry, Adam. I was just going to say, I've talked about this before, but I've always thought Abor the Witch makes it really hard for GK to play because you have to hold the primary or any primary for 5 points, but then they just kill your unit back for 3 points. So if you play in the primary mission, you're essentially playing for positive 2 points as opposed to positive 5.
Well, so it puts so much pressure on you. You have to max primary. You're already playing from a position where you're 15 points down. You have to win the primary. If you don't win the primary, you're not going to win the game because you're going to lose secondaries most likely.
And in saying that, James is sitting on less objectives at the moment than what AK is.
Does he have nothing in that ruin in the top left-hand corner?
I can't see anything there.
So I can see a unit of what I believe is the Paladins in the middle, above the middle ruin. We'd have a unit of Strikes on the top right-hand corner, unless that is the Purgation Squad or whatever it is. But yeah, I assumed there's a Voldus or as a character in the top left-hand corner, and I assumed that meant it was supporting a unit that was inside that ruin. I could be wrong though. And is it
It could be the case. Luke, you just went to have a look, but it doesn't seem to be.
That's an interesting choice. So he's giving up the primary, and like I just said, GKs need to win the primary. But he hasn't taken a ball, so maybe it's not that big a deal. Just for those wondering about this mission, so this is overrun. Yep. So you can see we've got 6 objectives, 1 deep inside each person's deployment zone, right in the center of the Dawn of War, and then 2 literally just outside the deployment zones on the left and the right. As we've just gotten into the movement phase. This is what I was afraid of. The Cerberus Raiders are just going to boot scoot and pick their points and just didn't start denying primary objectives. This could be where the game is won and lost, despite the secondaries being a little bit iffy. The progressive objective here, so control 2 or more objectives for 5, control 3 or more for another 5, and control more for the other 5. That is where it's going to be really hard for James, and I feel like he's not set himself up amazingly to do that. But I do think his secondary choices are far superior.
Yeah, that's right. And just a shout out to Lukey, who was microphone down at the time, furiously pointing at me to try and point that out to everyone.
To point out what?
About the dogs chasing on
the Cerberus Raiders, yeah, man.
Forward and snitch. Yeah.
I was
So
doing
if you
like a cryptic, like on the screen, like they're gonna go here, man.
Yeah, good call. So if you see what the sum total of the James's damage in his turn seems to be the loss of 3 Castellan robots. If you look to the right hand side, just above the bottom right hand ruin, there's only one of those 4 left. So that's the sum total of his damage in his turn. That'd be the combined fire of the Land Raider and literally everything else they can see. I'm assuming the Purgation Squad that was inside that ruin can see out of that. Can you guys confirm that for us? Can they see out of the bottom floor?
Yeah, so if you're in the ruin, so you can play Magic Box style. However, if you're in the box, you can be shot at. So
Yeah.
where he is currently, he can be shot at in return, but he can also see out and gain cover. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'm assuming then that'd be the silencer unit, the Purgations. Is it the Purgation Squad? Or the Purifier? Whatever.
I believe it's I'll double check for you. I believe in the Land Raider he normally takes Purifiers.
That'd usually be my thoughts as well. They're just such a good unit at the moment. So well placed. Silencers are so strong, and it leaves you to take the Psy Cannons on your Paladins as well. But anyway, you want to jump over to another table, gents?
Yeah, I was just about to say, so what's happening on Josh's table is really interesting. I'll swap us over to that one.
So Adelaide Sandwich, is this a match where the Grey Knights are aiming to not win but get points for the team? So you're absolutely right. Like this would be, I wouldn't put this as anywhere near a green for the Grey Knights on the matchup sheet. What do you guys think?
Sorry there, Adam. We're just trying to get the tables working. Here we go. We're actually going to move on to Dan's table.
Beautiful. But yeah, Nick, before we pass, if you were scoring this, if you were the AdMech player or the Grey Knights player putting down your traffic lights in the pairings for how do you think that game was going to go, what would you put down?
Personally, yeah, I would stick with the favour of the GKs. I don't think, with the way the line of sight works on this table, I don't think those robots can do enough damage where James can do damage back, even with Astral Aim and all that sort of stuff.
No, fair enough. Well, see, I would have been, if I was the AdMech player, I'd be quietly confident that I had the means to win that game. But I think the onus would be on the GKs to not lose, if that makes sense. So it'd probably be an orange for the GKs, maybe a light green for the AdMech at best. But it depends how confident they are going into that and how much knowledge they have of each other. This is an interesting development on this one. If you'll notice, there is a lack of Virtus Praetors on this table.
Yeah, they disappeared into the warp.
Is there one still left there, or is that I thought he only had one captain.
I'd say that's a shield captain.
I thought he only had the one. I'll double check for us, but we've got the secondaries up for this. You guys want to talk to those if you've got them?
Yeah, Lukey's going to punch them in now. Yeah, he does only have one shield captain, I'm sure, so that must be one single cruising around.
The last one of those bikes. So you notice he probably was just like, one bike for 3 CP isn't going to do enough damage going in. So into stooping, diving into those 3 bikes are probably not worth it. So yeah, he has one shield captain. Yep, just a single shield captain. So yeah, that is the last of the Virtus Praetors.
I think that Will's got that Talon one up back in the right hand corner. It's sort of hiding behind that building. I'm not sure if that's the best use of a Talon one there.
No, I'm interested. I think I'd be almost pushing it up the table, but maybe he's wary of the Terminators in the bottom right hand corner and those 4 las cannons from that Contempt to Dread. Or hell, even the Assault Centurions, they'll all do a little bit of a punchy punch work on that Talamon. But so we've got 3. Is that they look like those bases are too big to be regular Custodian Guard. Those are the equivalent Terminators just to the right of that leftmost middle ruin, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's his equivalents that he's got there. I know last time I played him, he does like to deep strike those bad boys down. So I guess the Vexilla may be inside that building next to him.
Yeah, I'd have to assume that is. Interesting that they've chosen to go there. So it looks like he must be going for the Hail Mary into the Assault Centurions, try and take out the core of the middle portion of this army and try and split it up into 2 manageable halves. We've got one Virtus Praetor that's going to make a beeline down to that bottom unit of Intercessors that won the bottom left-hand objective. Got a shield captain, kind of doesn't look like it's doing much of anything, but it's probably just going to go for a cheeky charge into the assault cents as well, try and clear them out. As soon as the assault centurions go down, I think he can breathe a lot easier because he can start dominating the middle of the board again. Lukey, what are you seeing here?
Yeah, look, there's not much custodes left. I'm not going to lie. I was expecting to be able to, with the lack of line of sight, out of line of sight shooting from the Marines, I would have expected a lot more behind ruins play and just kind of making them play cagey. I
don't like. Yep. I really don't like the fact that he hasn't put any resources into killing those multi-melter bikes, unless there is a unit inside that that ruin to the left of the Aquilon Terminators.
Yeah,
Or in fact,
that blue building there has a unit of guard inside.
3
there.
guard.
Oh, thank God. Because I was like, if he's putting nothing into killing those multi-melters, they're just going to do the same thing again. They're going to bust down. They're going to take 3 or 4 Aquilons off, and you're just going to have lost the game.
I'm also guessing there must be some guard on that objective in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah. There very well could be. I was assuming he had a unit in the top middle as well. He's got 3 units of Custode Guard. I can't see any of them right now, so that's really helpful.
Yeah, well, maybe he did exactly what I was saying, is hiding the units. Because, I mean, like, if you think about it, I've actually got the secondaries here. So, Paul, the Marine player, has got While We Stand, we Fight, Banners, and Engage in all fronts. Although he's spelled Engage with an I. That's interesting.
Hilarious.
That's just...
Straya.
William, the Custode player, has got Grind Them Down, Scramblers, and Linebreaker. So he's actually got a guard squad. Yes, a guard squad that's deep strike down in the Paul's deployment zone down the bottom there, if you can see.
Yep.
So that's, I mean, I think you need 2 squads for Linebreaker. Is that not right?
You do, yeah. And that's the reason I'm not a fan of Linebreaker. I think you should only have to do 1. It's a big enough ask as it is.
Yeah, to have them there in your next battle round anyway, right?
Well, no, so it's at the end of the turn. So score 4 victory points at the end of your turn if 2 or more units from your army, excluding aircraft, are wholly within your opponent's deployment zone.
Okay.
But getting, as Custodes, committing 2 units to being in your opponent's deployment zone for any meaningful length of time is a big ask.
Yeah, you've only got 5 units to work with, right? So...
That's right, exactly right.
So I'll just briefly, I'm going to update the scores manually in a second, but I'll just run you guys through it. So on the first battle round, on battle round 2, primary score was 10 points for both people here on this table. While We Stand is obviously scored at the end of the game. For Paul, that is Banners. Paul currently has 3 points as of turn 2. I think he'll gain the next turn unless this Custode captain there knocks those Marines off that second objective.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Engage on all fronts, he's got the 3 points as well.
Yeah. Fair enough.
The secondaries for the Custodes, however, is a total of 0. So
there you go. He should. Yeah, he didn't get any points in his turn 1 for Engage, and unless he's has he. I thought he had Banners. Did he have Banners?
I believe that was table 2, whether we had banners. Table 3.
We're gonna get confused about this stuff. Are we able to put the secondaries on the screen on the scorecard? Otherwise, I will.
All right. So while I got you there, though, Adam, while we're having a chat, my dad did cruise over and have a look at Will's table, and the back 3 buildings, they have a character in each. So on the top left-hand side, there's where his assassin is. The middle, sorry, on the right where the Telemon is the Vexella.
Beautiful. So those Aquilon just deep struck down. That's just like they planted there. They didn't use the Vexilla teleport home or anything.
No, they've just dropped.
No, fair enough. I'm assuming he's just like, wow, I just really need the shooting right now. Is he tapping?
Yeah, he might actually even be trying to bait those Assault Centurions away from that objective. Because if he can get them Assault Centurions to come forward and bait them, like I would probably even just leave those Aquilons there, just let them do their shooting. See if he can drag those Assault Cents forward to allow those Custodian Guards only to interact with that Intercessor squad that he's got there.
Yeah, exactly right. He has to literally either use the shooting from the Contemptor or get a charge off with the Terminators in order to kill those if he doesn't use the Assault Centurions. Like, he doesn't really have a good mode of clearing off those 3 Custode Guard, because God knows Intercessors aren't going to do it.
No, that's right. Sitting on, because he'll be able to get in the terrain there. He'll be sitting there with the 1 up, 3 up. He'll be just happy to sit there for the rest of the game.
Exactly right, on his opponent's home objective. It's actually a big deal. But yeah, I'm assuming between either the Aquilons, if the Aquilons make the charge into those Assault Centurions, it's actually a big swing in the game, because that will mean like essentially. Oh, sorry, apologies. He's got Ironfire the Feroz inside that building behind that,
and the Apothecary.
So I know Ironfather can do a bit of work into the Custodes Guard. He might not. The Custode Guard might win that, though, over time, which would be the worry for me. It looks like we're in the charge phase. We've had the Verge Praetor make contact with that unit of Intercessors. Book of Night. Any AOS events? Apologies, my man. We aren't doing AOS at this time. Hopefully, one day in the future, we'll have a stream team set up to cover AOS events in Australia. But as at the time right now, we are pretty much a 40k show.
And we've got Daz himself. He's asked us, are they playing whole bases for the ruins on this map? And I believe that is the case.
What do you mean by whole bases? If you want to explain that term to the people in the audience, in case I don't know.
Oh, no, actually, apparently they're not. They're playing, so the size of the building. So the building, if you're inside the building, the shape of the building, then you're inside and can be seen.
Okay, cool. So the 1 or 2 inch bases on those ruins do not count for anything?
Yeah,
I honestly prefer that way. It brings back horrible visions of 7th edition for me, where somebody could have a Wraith Knight with 1 millimeter of his base on a forest and have a 5+ cover save. You're like, I can literally see your building sized monstrosity in front of me, and apparently I'm shooting through a forest. It's hilarious. Yeah, I believe it makes a lot better does himself. Antonio Deep Games, greetings from Spain. Thank you so much for joining us, my man. I actually went and ate some magnificent Spanish food last night. I have a great paella, and phenomenal. I was on the toilet all morning. It was great. Very worth it. Looks like we're in the charge phase. We have had the Virtus Praetor in the bottom left-hand corner has made contact with those. I'm interested to see if he charges. Would you charge the equivalents first here, Nick, and see if they make it before you're putting your shield captain in, or is the shield captain in just going in no matter what?
Yeah, well, does he have the movement shenanigans on that shield captain?
He does. Yes, Unstoppable Destroyer, I believe. Yep, Unstoppable Destroyer. Which means he can.
Yeah, because that could be something he's trying to do, where he's trying to make some contact there with those Centurions and try and get back around the back to those intercessors.
Well, exactly right. See, what I would be doing if I charge with that, I'd be charging to the left-hand side, depending on how much he rolls. Charging to the left-hand side of the assault Centurions, and then consolidating into the left. He has a much stronger left flank than he does a right flank for the Custode player. And honestly, if he does leave that shield captain on the right-hand side, he's just going to cop enough Stormbolters that'll drown him out, and it will all be in Tactical Doctrine. It should probably go down. There'll be 40 Stormbolter shots on top of, he could put in a bunch of Intercessors and sling a couple of Melter Guns from a drop pod should he need. So look, we've had some CP being spent, possibly the last CP. Looks like an Overwatch. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is the Assault Centurions during Overwatch.
Yeah, it looks like this is a big play here. I think this is really going to turn the tides of the game here. There's a big charge from the Terminators.
If the Terminators make this, this blows the game wide open and could be a really big issue. Admittedly, the drop pod could come in and just make this a non-event. Although no, I think the
thing with doing that though, if the drop pod does come in, and he comes in to support these back sections, that leaves Will on the objectives in his own deployment zone.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think he's charged with the shield captain, mate. They were measuring distance and checking line of sight for that, and he just needed to see if he could see with all 3 of his assault centurions. Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. I don't imagine this guy's going to take much damage. I assume if at worst he'll take like 2 wounds from these guys. But they don't Overwatch on 5s anymore, do they? That was a change in the last Codex change. For some reason,
I do believe they lost that.
Yeah, they lost that. Thank God, because they did not need that. But I think they still have it. They can still get it back with a CP. Luke.
So they've moved it to a strat.
I think it was always a strat, because I think I remember them overwatching on 4s, and so they always overwatch on 5s, and you can +1 with a strat.
Yeah, you're right. I do remember running some Iron Hand Sense, which you're overwatching on.
Yeah, I remember some jerk doing that to me in my local play. He has made the charge. Is he going for the? It would have been a massive charge to make it to the Intercessors as well. So I'm assuming he won't be able to put any attacks into them. He should be happy if he kills one of these. By the way, what's your predictions here, Nick? Do you think he kills 1, kills 2, kills none?
Maybe 1. I don't think he kills 1. I don't think he really cares if he kills 1 or not. I think the main thing is he just wants to tiptoe around the edges of all those boys and get onto that.
Exactly right. Have you got an Unstoppable Destroyer there by any chance? You know what it does? You able to explain it to us?
Yeah, so what it is, it allows you to consolidate 3 inches plus an extra D3. And it also, as long as you're not based, it allows you to have a bit extra shenanigans. So as soon as you're finishing doing your combat attacks, you can then consolidate straight away, and it allows you to move in and out of combat.
Yeah, but you have to come closer to a unit within that distance that you roll. So you roll your D3, add it to the 3 for your consolidate, and as long as you move closer to a unit that's within that distance, you are technically fine. So you do have to have some forethought into this. Admittedly, I think the Intercessors are really well placed here, so we can just do that jump 1 inch away from the assault Centurions into the Intercessors, and then avoid any attacks back. So I pretty much think that there's no way that this shield captain dies. He's just going to be a really annoying 3+ invuln, toughness 6 bastard. Yep, there he goes. He's going to pop away about 1.5 inches. Yep, tap into the Intercessors. No harm, no foul. Pretty spicy.
As predicted, he's killed none. Typical shield captain.
Yeah, there's a full shield captain. They ain't what it used to be. They're just not that killy anymore. It's a big shame. What do you think they got to do to turn that around?
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. They're really underwhelming. As I run 2 of them in my current list, and they just sort of don't really do anything. The best thing they have for me is that while we stand, we fight. I'm just guaranteed 15. I run those
Yeah.
2. I run the
Yep.
Vexilla. I run Aquilin Shield. So, yeah, I just keep my dudes alive.
Exactly right. Aquilin Shield is such a sleeper. Those custode players out there, look into it. Look into it a lot. I've been looking into it a lot because I like what it adds to a soup list with like Imperial Knights or Guard or Scions or whatnot. But yeah, it's just baller. Lukey, what do you got for us? Any updates?
Yeah. So they're currently on at the end of battle round 2. This is the Custodes battle round 2. So the scores are currently up to date. And I'll grab the Custode players' battle scores at the end of this turn. But I think we're all in agreement that it didn't do as what he had planned. So I don't think I'll be updating that much.
So I'm actually not sure where the Aquilins shot. I don't know where they shot because I haven't seen anything be picked up from the Iron Hands player. On top of that, if you'll notice, nothing has made contact with the multi-melter attack bikes on the left. There's no charge into that. Nothing made it there.
I'm
That's a
almost
big.
gonna say that he might have forgot that the Custodes are there.
Oh,
I was literally about to say that. The building's around the way so that he can't see his own models.
okay. Well, hopefully his opponent lets him out a take back because that is a game-losing mistake there. That is literally will be game-losing.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to recover because that multi-melter unit. I mean, it's going to move on to the next objective, take him off that. Yep. Yeah, he's going to get no primary for like 2 or 3 turns.
He's only got a Calidus in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, behind that building is the Calidus, yeah.
So you don't even charge the Calidus. You just move it around, put 6 multi-melter shots and all the bolter shots into the Aquilins, just sit there. And maybe charge the Calidus if you want, Rapper for the lulz, be a total jerk.
Yeah, that's it. You can just sit on that objective and try and make him bring those Aquilins back.
Yeah, well, he has to. He's just going to lose the primary. And I think if he doesn't kill the multi-melter attack bikes, I can't see how he wins a game. Yeah, it's just too...
Yeah, no, 100%. Man, all those attack bikes, he must have rolled poorly for his jet bikes.
Yeah, he must have rolled poorly. It was only 6 shots, and he lost 4 out of 5 of them. It's actually horrible.
Yeah, I'd probably back myself to lose 1, maybe.
Yeah, especially if I don't think he had the Vexilla on him, though, did he? The Vexilla's in the top right.
Yeah, that's right. The Vexilla's over with the Dreadnought. I think you can just see the top of it if you look at next to the white description card.
Yeah, good call. I can just see it there. All right, well, I think we're good to switch tables, boys. If we can get McGowan's game up, the Necrons versus Blood Angels, I'd love to see where that is at, if we have access to that table. If not, chuck it over to Dan Savage and the Chaos on Chaos love.
That's currently...
Yeah, well, I just like to point out that I did see Dan Savage eating chocolate biscuits earlier. I think that's against everything that he stands for.
That's right, it is. He's Action Man, the greatest hero of them all.
So I want to take you back to the Grey Knights game real quick while I set up the scores for the Demons game. But have a look at the board now.
Oh, snap. That's the paddling.
And one thing I'd like to point out as well is actually the scores were entered opposite last time. So I thought it was a bit odd, but the secondary choices were opposite way around.
He does have a ball. He does have this. He does deploy scramblers is still there, which I think is a mistake. But engage on all fronts. He's going to get a big score from that. This is why I thought the Grey Knights needed to target the Raiders turn 1. The Cerberus Raiders have to go. They're just too frustrating to leave on the table. They've tagged the Land Raider. They've taken one of his objectives, and they're looking in a great position. See the unit on the left? He's already locked and loaded to take it again if he does decide to kill that unit of Raiders that's on the objective now. Yeah, this is looking bad for James.
Yeah, AK is definitely looking like he's in a strong position here.
I just think it was a mistake to go after the Castellan Robots turn 1. Clear out the screens, clear out the things that are going to close the gap between you and your opponent, and clear the things that are going to stop you scoring primary. Because like we said before, Grey Knights, you have to win on the primary because admittedly you're starting 15 points down on the secondaries. So play the primary like your life depends on it.
Yeah, him having a ball the witch definitely changes things.
Absolutely, it does. So we're going to assume. So I'd assume from right now he's going to get somewhere between 8 and 12 for engage. He's going to get 15 for a bore. So he's going to get 27. He's almost starting at 27 points for his primary. Admittedly, I don't think he's going to deploy scramblers if James decides to invest in stopping him. But man, rough days ahead for James Fuller. We'll see how he pans it out, though. He's still got a lot of tools, still got a lot of abilities that he can do. Like he can gate out the Land Raider, no problems. Just jump it out of combat there, no issues. But yeah, he's jumping it away from where he wants to be. No matter where he puts it, I think he's going to be jumping outside into line of sight of all these deadly shooting. And he will kill it in one turn with one unit of Castellan Robots for sure.
he may be able to sit it where that beautiful Art of War scorecard book is. If he can sit it there,
Not planned.
not planned at all. But if he can sit it there, then he's still sort of hidden. I'm not sure if those robots that are sitting on top of the building are on top of the building or inside.
I'd assume they're on
Ruin
top
there.
because I don't think they could fit inside. I think they're too big. Unless that's literally like a
Yeah, you're probably
like
right
a
there.
9-inch tall building, which I don't think it looks like vertically. From the verticality seems off for them to be inside it, but who knows?
Yeah, no, it's just a one-level building.
So yeah, he could. He's got Voldus. Looks like he's got Voldus next to the Land Raider. Voldus comes forward. Land Raider gates over to where Voldus was. He can still stay out of line of sight and close the distance. Then Voldus just charges into those service raiders. He'll kill all of them by himself, no issues. Flat 3 damage. Looks like we're having a deep strike from James. Looks like we're possibly into James' turn 2. But man, what a dynamic turn by the Admech. See, this is the thing, yeah. People think Admech is a plotting like non-dynamic army like it used to be. But man, it has changed so much due to the additions in the Psychic Awakening that is literally you have to just rethink everything you think you know about it.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. They've got all the tools. They've got movement, they've got firepower, they've got combat, they've got mortal wounds that they can put out everywhere. They've got rerolls. Yeah, I think Admech are definitely one of the strongest armies.
Yeah, I think they're absolutely right.
I'm not sure if that's Voldus or a chaplain that he's got sitting there up next to that.
It looks like Voldus to me. I own a Voldus, and that's the same stance. But you're right. It could be a Chappie. The Chappie looks pretty similar. Yeah, no.
Does he have a chaplain?
He does. Voldus might be the guy on the far left. It's actually, yeah, you're actually right. So the guy on top left-hand ruin is the character behind there. That looks more like Voldus than the guy we're pointing at does.
Yep, it definitely is Voldus.
Yeah, that's it. Voldus is on the left.
Yeah, Voldus. He obviously has a Thunderhammer. The other guy might not have a Thunderhammer.
I believe it's called Malleus Agrum.
Thank you, Luke, for that distinction.
All right, I'd like to take you guys to Dan Savage's game now, if that's cool.
Yes, please do. We went to see it again. Any ideas who went first in Dan's game?
Dan went first. Dan went first. He moved the keeper up the front left and took that home objective up there.
Swamped. So we did have it. So last time we saw this, we had a keeper on the right-hand objective, which is now in the bottom middle. If you see right at the bottom, that's the same keeper. It looks like it's got some wounds taken up, but it's now in combat with a Demon Prince. Directly above and to the right of that, in that weird-ass forest there, that is the unkillable Lord of Change, who is an absolute pain in everyone's ass. And just directly above that is the other keeper. And to the left of that, is that Horticlus Slimix? Is that Mr. Slimy Boy himself next to the other Lord of Change? Other Keeper of Secrets? I'm assuming it is.
I think
anyway.
it is down in the middle of the board, right beside the blue keeper.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's him. He's got his little spines up above his head, or whatever they're called.
Well, we'll give him a name. And to the left of those is a unit of beasts, another unit of beasts to the left of those. And in front of that, what's that big old unit in front of those beasts?
You mean the blue unit, or...?
So there's the blue unit of beasts on the left, and there's the unit right next to that with a bunch of wounds on it. I'm assuming it's the Disco Lord.
No, I believe... I think it's a conversion. I need to check this. 1 second.
That looks like a Lord Disco. So he's pushed the Disco in to try and stop the Beast from pushing way too far into his lines. And next to them he has the Defiler. They're all leaving me. It's all right, boys. I'll hold this up on my strong back. He's got the Defiler right to the right of the Disco Lord. Below that, he has his Forge Fiend. He has a Forge Fiend to the left of the one as well, right in the bottom left-hand corner. That one looks like it has been tagged in combat by Horrors. I'm going to double check. I didn't think he had Horrors, but that is definitely what that looks like there. Just to give you a rundown of those lists. Honestly, and I've got to tell you guys, Dan Savage possibly has one of the best lists at the event. But right now we have... We have Mr. Andy Mulholland. He is playing a Black Legion battalion, which starts off with a Baden Despoiler and a Lord Disco, and the Master of Possession to round out HQ choices. He has 1, 2, 3 units of Chaos Space Marines, just 3 units of 5 Chaos Space Marines, 1 unit of Terminators with a bunch of different combi weapons. All combi plasmas, apologies. They are Mark of Khorne, which is very interesting, because you would assume if you have combi plasma, you would go Mark of Slanesh for the double shoot. He has 2 Forge Fiends with Hades autocannons and the goody plasma speedy in the face. That is a technical term. He has 3 units of Obliterators as well to round out. Then he has a Patrol detachment, also a Black Legion, Demon Prince with wings, with the Hellforged sword, He has a unit of cultists, yes, a unit of 12 cultists, and the Defiler. So I'm assuming it's actually those cultists that are screening out that Forge Fiend from being tagged. If I had to make a quick assumption, the boys have joined us again. Let us know what the party is, boys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're correct in that was a Lord Disco beside it, and behind that is also a Defiler, or at
Yes.
least a Defiler model.
Ah,
I'm finding it
nice.
hard to believe somebody ran a Defiler.
Mr. Morrisoli has joined us in the chat. Hello, my man. Good to see you. We also have Simon, the Gojkovic himself. This is fantastic. We have some Australian legends in the chat. Thank you, boys, for joining us.
I also saw Denethus floating around there as well.
He is, yeah. Calzone Gaming 3000. Is anyone playing pure NIDs at this event? Gentlemen, you able to tell us?
We sure do. One of the GC boys are playing a pure NID list.
What kind of style has he gone for it?
Steelers, I believe. He's got Steelers.
Ballsy. Nice.
Yeah, he's gone for a full combat Steelers.
So this is something you will find with team events. So admittedly, I think everyone will accept the Steeler archetype is pretty much dead in singles, but in teams, that baby is alive and well. You can match that into some stuff where it just terrifies people.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And as we know, Eric's here. He's not playing NIDs today, but he loves to do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely right. Like niche stuff people won't plan for. Like no one's going to plan for Kraken Steelers when they're writing their list. Like, what if someone brings Kraken Steelers? What is this, 2017? But yeah, it's fantastic. What team is that? What was the team the NIDS player was on, guys?
I've got it. We've got it here now. Bodie's got it. It's GCTGA2.
What does that stand for?
Yeah, it's Gold Coast. It's Gold Coast Gladiator team event.
Oh, that's the event. What's the team name that the guy's on?
That is the team name, Gold Coast.
Oh wow.
Team event, I think. It's something like that's what it was called.
You know when you go into Coles and they've got the Coles brand stuff. You know, you got your Coles brand chips and your Coles brand oats and your Coles brand milk and cereal. That's this team.
They bought them from Coles on the Gold Coast. Yeah, that's right.
Well, there's actually two teams. There's a one version and a two.
They need to play each other for who's the home brand supreme. Fantastic.
Yeah, do you want me to have a look at that NID list?
It's Gold Coast Tabletop Gaming Association.
Yeah,
Reg Saunders,
so
insistent. Just spam us up, baby. If we don't pay attention, just spam.
Thank you for that, Reg.
You need some more caps locks and exclamation marks. We might not pick it up if you don't. All right, gents. Let's look at the secondaries here. So, Mr. Dan Savage has gone for raise the banners, engage in all fronts, mental interrogation. What do you think there?
Yeah, I think that's pretty stock standard for Dan. Definitely raise the banners, engage. That would be his go-to no matter what he plays.
What's he got to raise banners in his army? Because he hasn't got a lot of infantry. Actually, sorry, we haven't gone over his. I just went over the Chaos list. I'll quickly go over Dan's list as well. I'm a big fan of Dan's list. If I haven't said that already, I think Dan is one of the best lists at this event. Starts off with a Chaos Undivided Battalion, Horticus Slimix, the Unkillable Lord of Change with all the things you would assume. Then he has a Bloodletter Bomb. Which is bloodletter bombs are coming so back into vogue. It's crazy. 2 units of 4 Nurglings, a big unit of Beast of Nurgle. I think he's got 8. Yeah, you got 8 Beast of Nurgle. Then he's going to do 5. 2 Exalted Flamers with the new additions to his list. I'll get you guys to give us some opinions on those as well. A unit of 6 Flamers. And then he has Patrol Detachment. This one is of Slanesh. 2 Keepers of Secrets and a unit of Demonettes. So the only thing he's got that's going to be putting up banners is the Demonettes and the Bloodletters. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, but having said that, though, not many people are going to take them off him. So he's only really got to get 2 to get a guaranteed 10.
Yeah, exactly right. And he can just have that unit of Demonettes scooting around his back lines, just doing whatever he likes. And of course, he wouldn't take that if somebody was playing against somebody who had like a freaking Wyvern or whatever, something that's going to mold them from the other side of the table.
Yeah, 100%. I know a lot of the Ottawa boys, what they do is they look for getting guaranteed points. So if they can get a guaranteed 10, that's better than risking something that's going to float you somewhere between a 6 and a 12.
Yeah, exactly right. Some feedback. Thanks for the feedback of the stream, guys. Simon saying this is a really good layout for a teams event. We can see how the whole team round is going. If people want an update on the scores, we can see Andrew Kennedy versus James Fuller is 13-7. Paul Gurney versus William Milton is 14-6 as well. So it's looking pretty good for the Art of War team 2 so far. Two of their games, they are quite a bit up. And of course, it looks like Dan is in a pretty dominant position here. Luke, what's Andy taking for secondaries?
So Andy currently has Deploy Scramblers, Linebreaker, and While We Stand We Fight, which is interesting because those keepers are gonna. Well, it's a monster mash, right? So the keepers are gonna run into whatever the While We Stand We Fight is, and I'm pretty sure the keepers are gonna win.
Yes.
I mean,
Once
it's
again,
probably. Do you think it's the Lord Disco, the Defiler, and he's got a Mauler Fiend in there? But I actually haven't checked the points values.
he's got Forge Fiends. I actually be assuming it'd be his Demon Prince, Defiler, and Lord Disco.
Yeah, there you go.
The Demon Prince has just died, by the way. It was in a combat with the Keeper in the right and the bottom of the table, and has just been picked up.
Well, there you go. As I said it, I told you they would lose.
As you said it. Yep. This, I think, might be a bad pick by Mr. Andy. Deploy Scramblers against a Monster Mash pressure list like Dan plays is unfortunately a poor choice in many situations, as is... So Linebreaker is a cheeky... I've actually thought about playing Linebreaker against Dan because... he likes to push all his chips forward. He likes to push all his important stuff right into your face. He's like, cool, 2 units of Scions, deep strike into your backfield, get me 16 points, boys. Good stuff.
Yeah,
you get 16 out of possible 15. You're just going to extra point because I'm cheating.
Yeah. On that first turn, we even saw Dan pushed up his keepers right into the opponent's deployment zone and take off, or fight a unit on an objective and take it off them. So he's very aggressive playstyle with that. We've actually got Nick now. He's actually roaming around the tournament, and he's going to give us a little bit of an update on some other games that are going on, if you guys are interested.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. So I've headed over, and I'm looking at Art of War 1 at the moment. They're playing, I believe, Daddy's Girls. I'm going to look at Steve Wade's army here. There is a lot of Marines on the table, but not many custodes. He is demonstrating that he's kicking the shit out of someone. So I think Wade is pretty comfortable here.
Yeah. What else you got for us?
So it's Custodes versus Marines, yeah? White Scars, I believe.
Yeah, that's right, man. This is an aggressive list. Probably about as aggressive a list as I've ever seen.
Well, Wadey's pretty aggressive with the White Scars list. Normally, in turn 1, you just see all those White Scars bikes in your face.
Yeah, well, he's actually even got the Assault Centurions on the other edge of the board.
Oh, interesting. What about Eric's game? How's Eric's game going?
All right, so Eric's actually got the Dark Angels here. I think this Dark Angel list in Daddy's Girls, that's the strongest list they had. That was a super powerful list. So looking at it here, we've got a unit of Dark Angels, the Deathwing Terminators are sitting in the middle of the board here. Eric's got his stuff sort of spread out everywhere. The Saint's still on the table. There's lots of things still spread out. Eric still has a lot of objectives. I can't really see the scores. Oh, we've got the scores here. Primary, yeah, it's looking like it's going very strongly in Eric's favour. Very strongly.
Just going to check, are we able to get the camera onto Joshua McGowan's game anytime soon?
So unfortunately with that one, Adam, the camera's not quite working. We can't seem to figure out why. We're going to wait until the next round. We can give you an update on it now.
Yeah, if we can get Nick to give us a patrol around that one, because that's the only one we haven't got any coverage from this quartet of... Is quartet 4?
All right, well, I've just cruised over to the table.
Oh, Nick.
Interesting addition by Dan is the two Exalted Flamers. You can see he's just put one into that bottom right-hand corner ruin, and the other one's at the top top middle, just to the right of the unit of Nurglings. Now, why do you think he's taken those, Luke?
Sorry, I was keying with Nick. What'd you say? Sorry, Adam.
Why do you think he's taken the Exalted Flamers for Dan?
The Flamers, yeah, interesting. I was trying to look at that before because what his list lacks is Obsec, so I was wondering what the Flamers' role really is. I guess it's just kind of like a counter charge for things that deep strike into his backline and try and charge like Nurglings or the 10 Demonettes, and he just sits them near them and kind of like says, if you're going to charge them, they're here as counter charge or at least Overwatch, if possible. What do you think they're there for?
I think they're pinch hitting for things that he needs to soften up just a little bit before putting in something like a keeper. I thought he was going to be putting them there to do actions and things of that nature, but they're characters. I think their character. Are they even infantry? I've got a feeling they're bases.
I'm pretty sure they're like chariot or cavalry characters. So I don't think they can actually do any secondaries. I'll double check that
exactly
right now.
Yeah, someone will be able to tell us. Looks like we're going into what I assume is Dan's turn 3, and I think this is... Well, I don't think the I really don't think the Chaos Space Marine player can win it from this position. He's just been held into his own deployment zone. He's been contained too well to either win the primary or to score any of the secondaries that he's chosen. He could have chosen secondaries that he could have scored from this position, but unfortunately he hasn't. Deploy Scramblers and Linebreaker are both impossible to get a score on while you're sitting in one quarter of the table.
Yeah, this mission is interesting. I find it quite interesting because from the start, as opposed to most other missions, you have the ability to somewhat hold 3 objectives relatively comfortably. So they're close to your home field. You can hold them, and if someone's playing a hyper-aggressive list like Dan is, you can sort of say, okay, I know he's got 3 keepers. I know he's going to be in my face the entire game, and I know I'm not going to get to his backfield. So I'm just going to pick secondaries that revolve around holding these objectives. So whether or not I have to kill stuff to do that, then I'm going to take kill secondaries. If I know he's going to have characters in my face and I've got psychers, I'm going to take mental onslaught. Mental interrogation, and just keep doing secondaries that I don't have to overextend for. Stuff that he's going to bring to me is what I would take.
So just Malik the second, Malik the O2, Exalted Flames infantry by themselves, or you buy them on the chariot, of course. So that makes sense. They are, I think it's D3 las cannon shots out of those guys, and of course I think they have a super flamer as well, a big old heavy flamer. So there is a couple of pinch hitting things they can do and add to the list as well. But I actually quite like them. I think they work very well with a unit of Nurglings to protect them, and then they just become, you turn what was essentially a ignorable unit of Nurglings into something that you actually have to deal with. I suppose that probably plays into what he wants to do. You see, this is why I think Dan's list is. I'm just gonna. This is a mature. This is a mature stream. Dan's list is fucked. He's got a keeper of secrets here that could have gone into the heart of his opponent's arm. He's like, nah, don't need it. Put it on an objective. Like, fuck off, Dan.
Yeah, I've just cruised over to the table, had a chat to Dan and Jay over there. I was like, what 10 is it, man? Jay's like, man, it's only 3. So he's over there shitting bricks. But Dan's list is pretty much the ultimate bully list. If he can get what he wants, he will just absolutely clean.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't need to. He could stop killing anything in his opponent's army this turn. He could just stop killing anything, and he's probably going to get close to 100 points for the game.
Yeah, that's it. So when I say bully list, I sort of mean like points
exactly
points.
right. Yeah,
he can just sit on the table, get his points. He's
going to contain you. He's going to pressure you, and he's going to just play the game he wants to play. You don't have a chance. You have to be an absolute beast of a player and a list to try and stop him doing that.
Yeah, that's it. I've just goes around and had a look at the table, had a chat to Josh. Their game's really close. I'd say based on how I see Josh's role in the team here, I believe that maybe they would have thrown Josh up.
100%. Josh went up. I would say that with like a 99% surety, seeing as I didn't even see how the pairings went. Josh's list is built to bust. It's
so in saying that, they're like pretty much straight down the middles. So I can see their point. They're not going to get much of a points differential out of what they're looking for at 20. So the Northern Alliance here, they'll be looking for a high score
against Josh.
Josh here by Reese. Yeah, that's right. So they're not going to get that. Dan's going to get his high points. And then looking over at the, I believe the Marine player is going to get lots of points. So I was definitely wrong on that one.
Yeah, well, it looks like looks almost like a clean sweep. I mean, as long as Josh holds the line and doesn't get dominated, it looks like 3 wins for Art of War Team 2 so far. The Iron Hands are looking very, very tight. We saw the huge swing in the AdMeg game where they just went, take away all your points. And of course, we'll see what Dan is doing to his opponent there. Malik the second, they are heavy 3, strength. 18-inch, strength 9, -4 D3 damage, or the pistol D6, strength 5, -2 auto hit. Cheap though at only 60 points each. Yeah, 60 points each. They're a good amount of wounds with a good invuln. They move quite fast, and the pistol is actually pretty good. Strength 5 -2 is actually pretty decent in this meta as well. The short range on the las cannon shot, the strength 9 shot, is a little bit hampering. But I don't believe they're a psyker though. I wish they were a psyker. If they're a psyker and they could do your mental interrogates and things of that ilk, I think they would be perfection. As it is.
Sorry, Adam, to interrupt. I think we should explain the 20-0 system, how it works at this team event. Would you like to take it away?
And also, if you could complain to these two gents playing on the Custodians and Iron Hands table, every time we come back to this table, the table is pushed a little bit more off screen. They got to stop pumping it.
Yeah, each time he walks around, I notice that they kick it, and I'm like, the camera's slowly moving down.
Just want to point out too that Will's guard that we mentioned earlier that he may have forgot about are still sitting in the exact same position. So there's a very good chance that he did forget about them.
Oh, Jesus. All right, tell us about the 20 system, my brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll just bring up the players pack.
Simon's just...
Oh, yeah, Luke's got it here. So what it is basically is a differential. So rather than just getting a win-loss sort of system that we have here, you can basically get points depending on how good or how badly you play. So, okay, so we've got it here, the scoring. Being a team event, scoring will work a little differently to what some of you are used to. During a round, each player will score their VPs as per normal. But after the game, each player will consult the following table. They are to calculate the difference in points between player A and player B and will receive their appropriate scores as per the table. The player with the highest VPs will be awarded the most battle points. Please do not forget to include the 10 VPs awarded for having a battle-ready army.
So when you look at the scores we have along the bottom of the table right now, that's the 20-0 system in action. So it's not that they've scored 15 victory points to 5. It's a 15-5 out of the 20 possible round points up for grabs.
That's right. And also, if you look at the scoreboard on the right, we have down the very bottom of the scoreboard on the right, we have total VP and total BP. So that will be converted total BP for the team currently, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so that is the fourth. Yeah. So it's a 14-6 towards the Iron Hands as it sits right now.
Yep. And the victory points is the game specific point scored. So primary, secondary, what have you.
So Simon said a pretty bold statement there. He said, not taking anywhere from Dan, however, he's played against Rory's Demon list on Tabletop Simulator, and he thinks it's one of the strongest lists he's ever come across in 120 games. That's interesting, because on face value, I actually thought Dan's was better. I thought Dan's was the superior list of the two, because I'm not a big believer in the Great Unclean one. I think the Great Unclean one is those points are better used turning into things that are going to kill stuff. But yeah, let's see by the end of this event which one has come out as better, and certainly those two of the better teams in contention for this. So it's not going to be, it won't be a surprise if they come up against each other, those two sides. Chris Wright, 800. Hello, my man. Man, we have all the alumni, all the glories in this chat. Hey guys, how's the day going so far? Going really, really, really well so far. Looks like we're about to have Luke do a round of the tables. But yeah, so far things looking pretty good. Josh McGowan is up 12-8. Dan Savage is up 15-5. Paul Gurney is up 14-6. So far this is looking like an entire clean sweep for Art of War 2. Nick, what are your thoughts, my man? Looks like, did you think it was going to be this big of a domination?
Well, I wasn't really sure, man. Like, I thought Dan would definitely go big. I thought Josh would block like he loves to do. It definitely was going to come down to that GK list. That obviously didn't go the way we thought it was going to go.
Yeah, the GK list, I think, might be where things came apart a little bit. No, not being disparaging toward James in any way. It was certainly, I wouldn't have put that as a great matchup for James. In fact, I would have put that tilted towards the AdMech's favor, but I thought the mission might be in James's favor a little bit, especially when I thought the secondaries were pretty poorly weighted. But this looks really bad for the Custos right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, I was definitely wrong there. Poor old Will's not looking like he's having a great day there. There is pretty much no Space Marines dead. They're everywhere spread out where they need to be.
Yeah, literally, you just said it right there. There's no Space Marines dead. Look at the bottom right-hand corner of the table. That, I think, is the sum total of dead Space Marines.
Yeah, 100%.
3 guys.
As someone that plays Custodes, that's the problem I've found. I can sit in objectives. I can get as many VPs as I want, but I'm not able to stop other people from getting VPs themselves.
Yeah.
So my games will be like a 74-70 loss.
Yeah, you don't have the resources to commit to taking other people off objectives when you just feel like you don't have 3 units of 3 service raiders. You can't just sling stuff across the table willy-nilly. Anything you sling across the table is worth hundreds of points.
Yeah, 100%. What you commit to killing stuff has to kill stuff, and if it bounces, and then you're pretty much going to lose out. Looking around the table, though, Adam, while I got you here, Art of War 1 seems to have wrapped up most of their games. It looks like big wins to Eric and Steve. Aaron's still moving around the table a fair bit, but they're looking like they're in control there.
Yep, beautiful. How about my boys, Art of Milk? How they doing?
They're on the right-hand side of me. They're playing the other Gold Coast team. Let's see what they're doing. Duck's having a great time.
Oh, Duck will having a fantastic time. He's got such a good...
Duck's eating a lollipop as we're looking at him right now.
Oh, he's such an unnerving dude.
So looking at Liam looks like he may have already finished, and that's obviously another strong team because Liam's one of the best players that we have here.
Chris Wright, have you been following this game? Do you know if they've done any work? So the Assault Centurions, all they've done so far is move out of that middle objective, sit there, absorb what I assume is a bunch of shooting and combat from a shield captain and the Aquilon Terminators. None of them have died. And I think they've been healed a couple of times, and now they're about to kill a shield captain. So I think they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think they've sort of dictated what Will has done there. Like those Aquilon Terminators he's got sitting there, they're obviously there to counter the assault sense, but then they've failed their charge. Whatever they've done, they haven't been able to do any damage whatsoever.
I think where Centurions fit into the game now is that they're a wonderful bully fulcrum unit. They don't move especially fast unless you're White Scars. That you can chuck into the middle of your board, and they really determine what your opponent can and can't do. Like they can't move within their control zone. They can't really come in and like if you take 5 of them, there's not much in the game apart from other Centurions that's going to come in and clear them out. We don't have fight twice anymore, which used to be a lot of people's ways of dealing with them, or fight on death. You put in a smash captain with a damage 4 hammer. You go in, you kill 2 of them, you die on death, kill 2 more. The problem is solved. You can't do that with them anymore. And so while they went up a godload of points, I think their position in the game has still stayed relatively relevant.
Yeah, I think that's why you'll find most people are running, due to the points cost, that's why most people are running the Assault Centurions. I'd really like to get Wadey on here and get him streaming on the stream table, and we can see what he does with his.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what people. If as long as their team wins, there's no reason why we can't have them on the next game. This looks to be pretty crushing. I mean, the Space Marine player is in such a good position. He hasn't had to use his drop pod yet.
Yeah, well, that's 100%. So I wonder what turn they're on. Oh, no, it is on the table, actually. Sorry. They've bumped the table on you, man, so you just can't see it. It's actually, he placed it next to the Telenon.
Oh, wow. It's got some cojones. Well, at this point, why wouldn't you have massive cojones? Because, we are, unfortunately, due to these players deciding that they would like to mate with this table, the Iron Hands player, of course, more than the others, he's been rolling so well, he's just like, oh, man, he just can't stop the hip thrusts, and he's been bumping this table willy-nilly. So we'll get that realigned for the next game. We're able to change over and see how our man James Fuller is doing. Oi, change the table.
Yeah, we're going, man. It looks like the Land Raider is gone. Oh, no, it's in the back corner.
There we go. So he did gate the Land Raider. He gated it aggressively. Yes, my boy. Do it. If you're going to do it. That's sick. Looks like there are 2 Cerberus Raiders left of the right-hand most unit, which I'm a little surprised by. Probably the chappie went into them and didn't kill enough because he's just a chaplain. That unit of 3 that was all the way on the left-hand side of the table has been picked up. They are gone. But the unit of 4 that was sitting on the top left-hand corner, they are still there. And what's that unit he's got in his opponent's deployment zone? Is that a unit of Vanguard? He's just deep strike for being Lucius.
Yeah, I'd say would have gone to the objective there in the middle.
Yeah, he's dumped them down and scrambled. That's the Lucius play. Lucius unlocks the ability to get 100%. Scramblers. And of course, he wouldn't have been able to do that had he not been like spanking Fuller on the table. Like, because I'm of the opinion there's not much left for James. Land Raider, a couple of characters. I can't see any Terminators. I can't see any Paladins. Maybe there's one Paladin left that's just charged into those Vanguard. And the Land Raider. Yeah, I can't see much. The Purgation Squad, the one with all the silencers, is gone. The Terminators that he had are all gone. And yeah, I honestly, if I was James, I'd rather see a Nemesis Dreadnought in this list over the Land Raider. But how do you guys think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm a fan of Land Raider. What I think maybe an issue is that Luke, could probably touch on this more, being more of a GK player than me. I don't know about combat squatting those Paladins, which is what he's done.
Of course. Okay, yep.
But to me, I would leave that as one big sort of Death Star, look for the buffs, have the chaplain coming around them, the +1 damage, all those sort of things, and use them as an actual bully unit. It's something that has to be killed.
Lukey, what are your thoughts there about that statement?
I thought James had a 10-man Paladin squad, but it actually looks like he's only got a 5-man. So
no, he does have a 10-man.
Maybe it is a 5-man man. No, it's definitely a 10-man because the
it's just
It's got every one of it. It's the weirdest format
I've
ever seen.
Okay, so he's got the 10-man. He's split it, which is interesting. So we talked about this, and you kind of like throw away your use of Cybolt, which kind of hinders the value from the 2 CP. You lose 1 extra Storm Bolter shot, but at the end of the day, that's 4 strength 6 -1 2 damage shots. So it's kind of a big deal if it adds up. On top of that, I mean his secondaries I think have hindered him. He's got the While We Stand, which is good. The Land Raider's still alive, which is good. But yeah, I think the board control's essentially lost.
Yeah, I really think if he have had those 10 Terminators blobbed up, pumped all your CP into them, hell, if you want to shoot the Land Raider, just shoot the Land Raider. Just make sure you scope the Land Raider appropriately, that he can't get shot back by a dominant amount of Castellan robots. Because honestly, only the robots are going to kill the Land Raider. The Scorpiuses don't do great work on it. And it's actually a waste of a Scorpius disintegrator to try and hurt the Land Raider. So I'm of the opinion the Land Raider didn't need to be that cagey. I would have had the just be pumping CP into a 10-man Paladin unit and clearing anything and everything that would contest your home objectives. All the Service Raiders, all the Vanguard, and then start working on the Castellan robots.
Yeah, I really would have liked to have seen James be a lot more aggressive here.
Yeah.
See, actually, I think you should have played it differently. As I mentioned before to you, Adam, I mentioned that if you're playing a matchup like this where you kind of get outshot with most of your units, you can just sit in your back home field objectives. So James could have sat on his back 3, plonked his Terminators and one objective, just the 10-man, and gone, cool, I'm going to fully buff these guys up. You can shoot them if you want to, but you're going to do sweet nothing. And in the meantime, I'm going to match you on primary then, and you can never take my objectives off me. And then at the same time, you can go, cool, I'm going to kill all your units that hold objectives or do scramblers or something like that, and then you won't get your secondary. So you kind of... The thing is with GK, I find, at least when I played, is that you fight so hard for narrow wins. It's very rare that you get big wins if players know what they're doing for the most part. So you generally fight for narrow wins,
That's what I was getting at. He needs to. The first thing to combating this AdMech army would have been to stabilize the primary. Take away the things that are going to destroy your primary score and stabilize your own. And then, do you know what I would? Man, this is what I was thinking. Like a turn 3 gate by the Paladins onto the middle ruin. Like onto your side of the middle ruin, and then they just dominate the table.
You read my mind, Adam. You read my mind. Like
there's
after
nothing,
you get your primaries, you're like, let's go. I'm going.
Let's go. It's party time. Turn 3 party time. As soon as the Paladins get behind that, he has to move his castle, because otherwise they go 6 inches and they charge into the Castellan robots and just core the middle of your whole army out.
And honestly, the Castellan robots, I don't think they can wipe a fully buffed Terminator squad in cover with all the buffs.
As soon as you get the ignore AP2, they can't kill them. They've only got AP2, strength 6 AP2. Oh, wait, Paladins can do that? They can ignore AP2?
Can they not do neg 1 to wound as well?
No, they do neg 1 to wound, transhuman as well, and they've got -1 damage. They don't ignore AP, but you technically kind of do, because you can put them in tighter shadows in the open, which gives you cover,
that's right.
And it also gives you neg 1 to hit if you're already in cover.
Yeah, but that Paladin brick, as soon as you clear out the Raiders and the Vanguard, there's nothing he can do to stop you from dominating the middle of the table now. Admittedly, like, I don't know what he could safely put on that left-hand objective, like inside that ruin that's not going to get picked up. That's the issue though. Yeah, what does he put there? Is that his 5-man Terminator unit? Because over time the Terminators will go down to the disintegrators.
Maybe you're right there, Adam. He does have Voltus inside that building there.
Maybe he does. I thought Voltus was behind it.
Yeah, he is behind it, but like you said, maybe he's
representing he's inside it.
He's inside. So I'll just go have a quick check.
That makes sense to me. If that is the case, absolutely. What's in the top right hand corner for James? What is the unit with looks like it's got a lava base above the ruin?
Oh, his characters have lava bases. I'm gonna guess it's. Can you see the character in the top? James's top left. It's Drago by looks. I can see it from here.
Yeah, it's Drago. As soon as you said it was his character, I'm like, yeah, Drago, for sure.
Drago?
For shizzle.
Big shield.
But this is looking quite comfortable for the AdMech, unfortunately. I mean, he's played it well though. Like, the AdMech player has played this very well. I think deployment-wise, I would have put one unit of robots in Lucius Reserve for 1 CP, just making sure that they're going to get a good deep strike onto whatever if he tries to make any aggressive plays, the Lucius Castellans just come in as the counter assault or the counter shoot, I guess. I would have liked to have seen him do that, but apart from that, he's played a very good game. He's taken away the primaries when he needed to. He's contested the board appropriately, and he's just done a great job, I think, as AdMech player. Andrew Kennedy, good job, mate.
So just give me an update there, Adam. That is Voltus on the right hand side for James, and that's where he is. That's his position there.
So for those at home, that is the top left-hand corner. That is the right-hand side for Mr. Fuller from his position. Which table do you boys want to jump to next? Unfortunately, this is looking like it's only going to skew further for the AdMech player. It's currently sitting in a 16-4 his way.
We have an update on the Custodes table. The Sword and Shield guards have moved out of the building.
Oh, my lord. Praise be. the golden light. And thankfully, praise be, he hasn't humped the table again and shoved it over another 6 inches.
Yeah, and as predicted, he sort of, like you said there.
Dude, did that shield captain survive? Oh no, it's the last of the Virtus Praetors. I was about to lose my mind. I was like, how? How did he survive? Full unit of Terminators, full unit of Assault Centurions, and I'm assuming a couple of characters. He would be like, today is not the day I fail a 3+ invuln.
So I want to draw your attention to the scores. As you can see, as the team matchups down the bottom, so Josh is actually doing quite well.
He's doing really well.
It will. I think it'll start catching up soon though, because he's running out of models.
You think Reese will start pulling it back?
Maybe we'll see. Josh has done really well to maintain scores on his primary and secondary. He basically said, all right, I'm going to get walked over, but I'm going to get whatever points I can, and just completely... He's basically, this game honestly has ignored killing models. He's just gone for objectives.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how he's supposed to
front-loaded. He's front-loaded everything.
So he's got some points on the board. Dan, I think, is nearing the...
Well, look at the score.
Yeah.
It's a 19-1. That's a paddling. Absolute paddling.
Paul's game is doing quite well. Paul's doing well against the Custodes. And then finally, James's score. Oops, I think we got the scores around here. Wrong way around. But James, I think, is currently losing to AK.
It was a 13-7 last time we were there.
That's right, yeah. So I think it might start to tip further and further as they rack up the primaries. Because I think AK wasn't doing that well on getting all the primaries. I think James was trying to keep him at the bay there. But it's I think James is running out of models now. So
he's just running out of stuff. Yeah, we'll get these scoreboards fixed up for you guys momentarily. But this one, I feel like look what he's had to do with the Aquilon. I'm surprised he's put the Aquilon back to get that objective rather than them going forward and the Custode Guard going back. I feel like that might be a little bit of a mistake there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's something I was just about to point out. I think Paul's done really well not to fall for any of the baits that Will's done. So those Aquilon coming down sort of midfield, the shield captain being on the other side. Paul's done well just to hold still, leave the Assault Centurions and do what he needs to do without trying to break off and attack Will there.
I agree. Thanks to everybody who's joined us for this stream. This is Gladiator Gaming Team Tournament this is the inaugural tournament for Gladiator Gaming up in Brisbane, run by the wonderful Joshua McGowan, who is a member of the Art of War team. This is his new branded events up there. And there's 4-man teams. We are currently watching Art of War 2 versus the Northern 40K Alliance. And we have a wonderful 44 viewers. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on your wonderful Fridays or Saturdays or wherever you may be in this wonderful world. Can we get some shout-outs? Anybody chuck up where you're from and what you might be doing at this time of day? You're doing any hobby, anything exciting going on for yours? And are there any specific lists or specific players you'd like one of these guys to go and check out from any of the other games happening at this event?
The Soli's actually asked how the Milkman's going. Looking over at the Milkman himself, looks like he's punching in a lot of scores, vigorously rolling a lot of dice, and has a lot of demons on the table.
That is a Rory Argent for anybody playing along at home. This is Australia. A lot of people have nicknames. In fact, just about everybody has a nickname. Calzone Gaming 3000 from Maitland, New South Wales, looking after my 3.5-month-old while my partner has a sleep in. What a good dude. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us. Eating leftovers in America. Happy Thanksgiving to our American brothers and sisters. Hope you guys had a wonderful fattening day yesterday. And Dead Nerve says, wow. Good stuff, mate.
All right, so let's have a chat about. There's obviously a bit different to singles here, boys. It's not okay. Well, this person's going to win. We're going to this person. It's going to be a fact of this team here is going to get a big win. So they're going to be on high amount of VPs, and we're going to have to look at the other teams as they start coming in on who they play. Now, I know Art of War 1 is going to have big high scores. I think Duck's team looks like they're going to also have big high scores.
So you're looking ahead at who might be playing off in the next game?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that's going to come into play here because it's not just a case of strong lists, but it's actually people that are good at the matchup process. So looking at Dan's team that we have here, team formats is still something new to Dan. While he's one of the best players that we have, matchups and pairings isn't something that he can obviously do as well as someone like Eric, who knows it backwards and is probably the best we have in Australia, maybe even the world.
Yeah, well, him and Jerry Marigold are the two best matchup heads we have in the whole country, and they're world class. They're world class pairing experts, and that is a honed skill that you can't just pick up. It does take a lot of reps to get to that level.
Oh, sorry, Adam. I was going to say, who do you guys predict for top table next one? Do you reckon Art of Milk versus Art of War?
I would love to see Art of Milk versus Art of War, but I also think Liam's team, the Abnormal Blokes, have a very good shot. I think I just got messaged by Ben Warrior. He said he got 93 points. He scored 93 points in his first game, which sounds like either an 18-2 or a 19-1 or even a 20-0 for them.
Well, if you want, actually, I might just go grab Liam and Lukey can have a chat with Liam.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic if he's finished, by all means. So more shout outs. Daz himself, also from Maitland, New South Wales. Dale from the Down Under 40k League. Dude, Dale, you are a freaking legend. Thank you so much for joining us. He's also asked if there are any Dark Eldar lists at this event. Luke, are you able to look if there's any Dark Eldar for us? We also have
quick check.
JYE King 95. He's from Brizzy. He's watching this while reading water meters. Dude, I used to read electricity meters and do the same job. It keeps you nice and fit, and you probably got a mad tan. Vandalex, our lovely Stuart trainer from Victoria, thank you so much for joining us. He's the guy who looks like a 12-year-old, but he's actually a bit of an ass kicker at the moment. And we have Malik II, also American, with a belly full of leftover turkey. Good lad. Fant Pants X12. Yes, lads. Thanks for the content. Thank you, Fant Pants. Liam, how the fuck are you, dude?
Hold it.
I'm pretty good, dude. I'm just like, I have the technological ability of like a 85-year-old. So bear with me.
I'm looking after him. I'll look after him.
Look after him. Point him in the right way. Now, you two gentlemen are both from the Normal Blokes, and lovely Luke's been wonderful enough to come on and stream with us. And Liam, how did your team go? How did your first round go? How do you feel like your pairings went, and how was your game?
First round went really, really well. We've got two new guys on our team, Brent Piggott and Zach Morgan. And so we really, really are happy with how not just they're doing, but the attitude they're bringing to the game as well. Pairings rise, I'm really, really happy. The one list that was going to cause us a bit of trouble was my opponent's Necron army. And so that was the list that I wanted to take because I think of all of us, probably me or our Grey Knight player has the tools to deal with it because he's got a bunch of the new Catan shards. And one of the problems there is that you need like be able to do damage in multiple phases. And so like few of our armies can actually do that. My army can do it primarily because the scrap jets can do damage in the charge phase, shooting, charge, and combat. So sort of funny situation. He had the two Catans next to each other. One was on 2 wounds, one was on 3 wounds because of my shooting. The scrapjet deep strikes, charges 3d6, does 4 mortal wounds to the first one, and then uses 2 more CP to do unstoppable momentum to charge the next Catan shard and kills that one as well. So it's kind of like bowling ball. This 100-point model went through 700 points of Catan shards.
That's messed up.
That was pretty disgusting. So I got 95 to 15. Ben, Necron player, did really well too. Brent, his first ever teams tournament game. He's up. He beat his opponent, which is awesome. Playing Admech, Death Guard v Admech is actually a hard game. I'm really excited for him. And it looks like Zach Morgan, who has pretty much a grand total of like 6 tournament games in his life under his belt, is going to win his game too. I'm really pumped for these guys.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So one of the unique aspects of this tournament, and a couple of the other tournaments are going to be happening in the Gladiator series, is that they've made a concerted effort to try and grow other members of the community rather than us just having a bunch of stacked teams, like 3 or 4 teams that all have WTC and ATC players of a world-class caliber that just ruffle stomp everybody else. You can only have a max of 2 representatives on each team. So only a max of 2 WCT level players or ATC level players. For those who don't know what ATC is, that is our national level events. That's a state representative. And so that's meant that we have 2 world-class or national class players playing with just 2 local guys, just who might never have played a tournament before. And it's really showing a lot of amazing stuff there. There is the wonderful Ben Warrior in the background who's playing what I believe is the strongest Necron list at this event. It's quite fearsome. Liam, what are your predictions? Who are you guys afraid of? Are you afraid of any teams in the lineup?
The team that I actually think we pair the worst into is actually Art
yes.
which is still the best team name at this tournament. Taking an absolute dig at Art of War. I got to admit, I love that. It's very funny. I think we pair reasonably poorly into them, so that's going to be a hard game if we do end up playing them. I am worried that we have Icarus round 1. We were not wanting to win to this degree.
Yes.
It's actually not what we really wanted. But we'll see how that goes.
Wonderful. Well, good luck to you, my man. I'll let you guys go back, have a break, take it easy, and possibly scout out the rest of the room and see you might be up against next. Yeah, dude, smash some beers. In the words of Dan Andrews, get on the beers. It's your civic duty.
Love you long time,
Love you too.
guys. See ya.
Benny, Simon's just pointed out he's got his Santa beard going on. Can you give that a stroke for us, Liam?
Liam is preoccupied chasing a beer.
No,
It's all
fair
good,
enough.
all good. So Ben's going to jump on. We'll get a quick hear about his Necron list so you can discuss. So Ben, just press the button there to talk. So Ben, tell us about your Necron list. Adam says it's the best Necron list at the event.
Well, I think it is. In my opinion, it's the most well-rounded. Does everything. Can play defensive, play offensive.
Thanks for the pressure, Adam.
No, not at all. Don't scrap it.
I've got a mixed dynasty list with the Obsec, Scarabs, and Wraiths, and the I've got a Sautek patrol with some Immortals, Zandrek, and 20 Praetorians.
Yeah, it's legit. Praetorians, man. Like, you took Praetorians over any of the Scarabs or the Canoptic Destroyers or anything. Sorry, not the Scarabs, the Wraiths or Destroyers. Why is that?
So the list kind of comes at you in waves. So with the Relentlessly expansion, it's 6-inch move. It really wants to go first. So those Scarabs and Wraiths, if they go first, they're moving 18 inches across the table at you. So it's usually like a 6-inch charge with a reroll. So that wave goes first, ties up your list. It's Obsec as well. So if you're not, I'm taking all your objectives off you. They usually survive because I'm usually hitting your screen. So you're not killing me in the Wraiths. T5, 4 up invo. Scarabs having a bazillion wounds. Make it really difficult for people to actually get through them, especially if you don't do it once because of reanimation and living metal and all that stuff. Then once I've tagged all your shit, I guess the Praetorians moving, and that's what kills you. So they got like 30 attacks, hitting on 2s with a strat, strength 5, neg 3, 2 damage each. So the buff in the Codex getting 2 damage is huge. I've got 3-inch of Cryptothralls in there, so they do my scramblers. Zandrek's in there for the robot Vect. Just that once per game, you're not having a strat can be really game changing.
It's phenomenal.
And the extra rapid fire range on the Immortals was pretty nice too. So yeah, it kind of comes at you in waves.
So I wanted to ask Ben, how many Catans did you have on your list?
0.
So that's interesting because we remember that when the Catans first emerged, everybody was raving on about them. Why no Catans in your list?
So I think I mentioned this on the.
You did. I remember
listening
to this.
We did it with Denise, and I was fully ready for the lynch mob to come after me. So I just think they're massively overcosted. The name characters, like, don't get me wrong, the Nightbringer hits like a freight train. He probably hits the hardest in the game. But if your opponent's smart, he's going to be hitting guardsmen or Groft or nothing of worth. Like, at most, he's going to protect an objective or 2 because he can protect 1, threaten 2, and to me, that's not worth 350 points.
No, I think it's well thought out. I can't disagree. I think there are lists that make Catan very good, but Catan is not just something you can make. You make a 1,700 point list and chuck a Catan in and expect the Catan to carry you. It's not a carrying model. It's a support for something else. People look at it as an Abaddon or a knight, for God's sake, and think it's going to polarize the matchup. The fact is, they move quite slow for something so expensive.
Yeah, and they can't advance and use their powers, so it's not doing anything for your army either. Like,
exactly right. They're not like their same
anything.
points. They're pointed similar to Gilliman, but they're not adding buffs. They're not a force multiplier in and of themselves. They do some decent amount of mortal wounds, but if your opponent doesn't engage them, they're essentially just 2 psychers stuck together for a game. It's not that great.
Yeah, like for 350 points, like, to me that's 20 Immortals. That's most of the Silent King. Like, it's just not worth it points. So I think they need about a 70, 75, even a 100-point drop to make them competitive.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think they'll get it. There's too much hype around them for them to get a points drop. The court of public opinion believes that they are good, and therefore we are incorrect, gentlemen. But back to this game. Just going to give you a quick call on this game. I believe the Custode player has done a really good job of stabilizing his left flank. As you can see right now, he's got 1 Pervertus Praetor to the left of that of the bottom middle ruin. He's got a unit of Custode Guard on the bottom left-hand ruin, and with another unit above them, and above them again, he's managed to kill those multi-melter attack bikes and is stabilized in his top left-hand corner. In the top right, I'd like to get Luke to tell us, if you can cast your gaze up there, are there any Devastators or TAC Marines or anything at the top above the Telemon? I believe that I saw the drop pod get picked up, but I don't believe I've seen any of the Devastators get picked up yet. And that should be a big deal if they're still alive.
Currently, as I see here, I think there are some on the objective in the back middle. The camera's been moved, but the middle building up the top has the squad of 5
Ben.
Devastators.
Love you long time. Enjoy your wins. Sorry, Luke, keep going.
Yeah. So the squad of Devastators is behind on that objective at the top middle.
Yeah.
So they are currently about to rain havoc over there.
Agreed. So this is this is getting a little bit more interesting. This game, I think the Custode player has had a little bit of a panic moment and been like, "Holy crap, I'm about to get absolutely 20'd." And I think he has done a good job of stabilizing, especially this left flank. It looks pretty secure to me. Two units of Custode Guard, unit of Aquilin Terminators, and one single Vertus Praetor is pretty imposing for what's left of this army. He does have that unit of Terminators. Looks like they're going to make the break for that charge. And if they do, actually, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm correct. That's unit of Intercessors. To the bottom right of that ruin is the Terminators, and it looks like they're going to go for the Vertus Praetor charge. If they get a big charge there, they're going to get to slingshot and start mopping up this left-hand flank. But should he fail one or two of these charges, the Custode player might actually be in a decent position.
Yeah, you're right there, man. I've had a chat to Will too. He never forgot about those custodes that were sitting in the building. He was using them to deploy scramblers. So he's actually going to be able to get deploy scramblers there. So that's going to work in his favor.
Of course, because he deep struck that unit, that 3-man into the backfield, and they deployed in the middle, and then he had those deploy in the back line. Yeah, cool. Not a bad ploy. I believe it's going to hold.
Looking at it too, this is only turn 3, so we've only got 10 minutes left. So they're only on turn 3 as well.
With 10 minutes left in the round and then turn 3, that's not great, especially for two stupidly elite armies. Admittedly, not a lot of these gentlemen are crazily tournament experienced, so maybe the clock is a new thing for some of these gents. Is that Mr. Lithurus? Is that Mr. Elric Lithurus that has just joined us? How you doing, my man? How'd your team go? All part of the plan. Who's just joined us in the Discord?
Well, it's the Diffster.
How you doing, Diff? We've just had Eric jump in with us as well. Diffy has been wonderfully patching things together as we go here. I believe we've got an issue with the scores at the moment, Diff, if you're able to fix that up. We have, on the scorecard, we have the Paul Gurney, William Milton game, but we also still have that on the bottom as well, and it's replaced the Mr. Fuller game. Ez, what do you think of the tournament so far? Which team are you got your eye on? As you might be... sorry, apologies, the auto for Eric isn't working. Nick, if you can fix that up.
He's got push to talk on, I'm assuming.
It's push to talk, that's right. Ez, what team have you got your eye on? Who are you worried about? Who are you concerned about playing against? Gold.
That is massive shade.
Massive huge. Shade. Oh, man. Art of Milk is if they win this event, it's going to be the best. It's going to be the best. Nice. But even Liam's team seems to be pretty well thought out and pretty well structured. But you're not looking at them as much. We can't hear Eric. So you guys are just talking. Can you guys confirm you can hear Eric, please?
I've got Eric coming through mine.
Yeah, please let me know if you guys can hear Eric. He's got push to talk on, so they're saying they can't hear.
I think that's an old comment.
No, a new guy, Calzone, has just said he can't hear either. Eric, can you talk for us?
It will probably be the... You know what? I'm going to send something to Messenger.
Apologies,
we're just getting Luke here to come and have a look here.
He's going to trust it out.
So just touching on where Eric's saying he's not as worried about some other teams.
Okay.
That could come down to like the pairings and the matchups.
There we go.
Being so good at pairings and matchups, he probably believes that he can cover some of those other teams that way.
Well, and the thing is, it's not as important to know. So it's very important to have a good working knowledge of the team that you have built, but it's really important to be able to predict what your opponent's going to do. In a 4-man matchups, being able to call who their put up and who their champion is everything. And guessing those appropriately will really dictate everything for your playstyle. Eric, not giving it away, but did you come into this with a really set in stone put up and champion?
Nah, so that's going to change base to base.
They can hear him now, apparently.
Based on round, that's going to change. So like just then we...
I can't hear Eric now.
Just then we threw up Big Steve playing the Marines and Champion Keller that round. But that's going to change based on who we're versing. So
yeah, good. See, I'm interested to see how some of these some people have go with a very fluid team makeup. I looked at Art of War 2, and as soon as I saw Josh's list, I'm like, well, Josh is just a put up every single time. He's playing the put-up list and the put-up faction. He's just going to be put up every single time. He has to be. Do you think that's the right way to go with it?
I think they're going to do something different with Josh. I think that list is there to get thrown straight into or try to hunt out the other team's big sword plays. So, like,
Yep.
against us, it players like Steve and stuff like that, it's going to bog down points on those big lists.
Mhm.
So he's there to just strip those results because it's so hard to actually score a big win in this format. So
Yeah.
that sort of list does really well going into the other team's strong sword lists.
Mm. If these guys could, if between the two of them they could stop bumping the camera, that'd be freaking amazing.
Yeah, man, they might be on the ban list. These boys.
These are just their fourth bump, where their fourth skew on the table. I can't see anything in the top anymore.
At least they're consistent.
They are consistent. These boys are rugby players. But the Terminators at the bottom have just made contact with that Virtus Praetor. They will pick that up in short order. In fact, I think it's already gone. That has allowed him to get a bit of a leapfrog into that left-hand side objective. He's also lost through shooting, through Daka. He has lost 3 Custode Guard this turn. So sum total, I think, for the Custodes player, 3 Custode Guard, 2 or 3 Aquilon Terminators. In the top right-hand corner, he has a couple of characters and a Telemon Dreadnought. There is not much holding back this wave of Iron Hands, and I think that it's not long before we see a huge swing in this game. But unfortunately, I think they're going to be out of time for getting another full turn in. So I'm not sure whether they're allowed to.
Nick, please check Messenger.
I'm not sure whether they're allowed to talk this through or not, but we will see. We're probably going to check in with the Dan Savage game if we can get switched over to that, Nick, when you get a chance. But Ez, tell us about Art of War a little bit. Give us guys opportunity to hear from you, hear from what you've got to bring to the table, and what we are doing as an organization with events like this.
Sorry, what was that, man?
Tell us a little bit Art of War, man. Tell us a little bit what you do, what you guys and the team up there are going to be doing, and bringing to the people what they can expect from us in the future.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of content like streaming coaching games and all that sort of jazz, clinics, all that sort of jazz on the War Room page. So that's the subscription-based Facebook page through the Art of War website. We're also kind of doing our best to drive more of a professional setting for 40k up here in Queensland and same down in Victoria. We strongly believe team events is the future for that, especially
100%.
being able to set up like we got here. We're giving it a go at four tables on stream.
Absolutely. And this, of course, this is the dry run for this. This is only a 3-game RTT that we decided we wanted to put on to show you guys what you can expect from us in the future. This is only going to get bigger and better as tournaments come back into vogue. Things like 6-rounders, 5-rounders, 8-rounders, 3-day marathons, masters events, more team events, bigger team events, ATC, ETC. The sky's the freaking limit for this stuff. And it's only going to get more exciting from here. Are we able to get a scene change? Are we able to jump over to either the Grey Knight game or to the Chaos on Chaos Love Fest?
Yeah, 100%, man. We're trying to just get some computers going up for Diffie here. Games Full is done. That's all done. We're updating those scores now. It looks like everyone's actually done bar the Custodes and Marines.
Fantastic. So we can pretty much wrap this up as soon as you boys want to head to lunch. Any ideas when round 2 starts for the people in the chat? When can they expect us to be back after the break?
I think it's a half-hour break, man. So probably like quarter 2, something like that.
Maniacs. Eric, who do you think is going to come out and you're going to play next? And do you guys want to be on stream for the next one, or should we possibly save you for the last round?
Oh, you can throw us on stream, whatever you guys want to see. I'll put on a bit of a show for you.
A bit of a show. Tell us a little bit about your list while we got you here. While we're waiting for these guys to change the tables over. You're playing a Sisters freaking Brigade. It's a brigade. I mean, why?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's incredible, to be honest. So I'm filling a bit of a hole in our lineup. So I did have a Valorous Heart list, big units, just kind of there to sit in the middle of the table and score points. I decided against that based on Blast being a bit of a problem for our list. So I decided to go just as many 5-man units as I can fit, and all of it can do its own, like can function on its own.
Yep.
And then they got all the melters for fighting things like Marines. So I'm basically here to fight the list that no one else wants to play.
Yep.
And I think the MSU Bloody Rose list does that the best out of all the
I
Sisters
think so
builds.
as well. Well, I actually really like your build. I really like your list. I think it's just got everything you need to score to get a good freaking score. No matter what the mission is, no matter what the opponent is, you're just going to get points. So that's what you see when you see a lot of team lists. Eric's list might not be better than some other lists for singles, some other sisters lists for singles, but for teams, it's got all the tools. It's got everything you need to guarantee you're not going to get 20. And that's really what you want out of a lot of your stronger players. You just need to guarantee your strong players get good scores and are able to not prop up your other players, but give them the opportunity to work into the games, work in and learn their craft.
All right. Well, we're going to have Eric on a bit later on, so we'll have a chat, say goodbye to him now. Dippy's going to work some more magic, and then I'm going to try and get Dan Savage on here.
Fantastic. Can we please get jumped over to any of the other... so you said this was the only game that was still going, yeah?
Yeah, this is the only.
All right,
game.
so we'll get a total score up as soon as we're able to. But it looks like it's been pretty much a clean sweep for Art of War 2. Looks like they've gone 4 out of 4 wins, with most of them being pretty convincing. Chris Wright has just said, I'm basing some Celestians at the moment. So keen to see Eric running the ladies. Yeah, pretty fearsome. Sisters are in such a good spot. So just rounding out the scores from the games, the only one we don't have is the game from the Fuller game, but we'll get Nick or Luke to come back with us with that one. We have Josh McGowan getting a 13-7 win over Reese Pinner. That was Necrons versus Blood Angels. We have Dan Savage getting a 20-0 win over Andy Mulholland. We saw how that game was going. He was just getting bodied. We have the full score caught up for you guys now. So yeah, Josh McGowan getting a 13-7, Dan Savage just getting a 20-0. What an animal. And the Adeptus Mechanicus got a 19-1 win over Mr. Fuller. Unfortunately, just some things not going his way, and may not have had the tools to get the job done.
I did have a chat to James too about his GK list, and he never did combat squad that thing. They just got wipe turn 1.
Jeez, but what? What saw him? What killed him?
The robots.
Oh wow! So the robots were able to get a beat on him. Maybe that's why that unit of 4 moved the way it did. That was because they get a beat on that unit. Paul Gurney got a 16-4 win over the Adeptus Custodes. So it was a 68-12 we are scoring out of 80 because of course there's only possible 80 points to be scored, round points per game. So Art of War 2 takes a convincing win into the round 2 of this event over the Northern 40k Alliance. Are we cool to call it here, Nick, or you want to get some more interviews done?
Yeah, I think Dan Savage is going to come over and have a chat to us. He's dying to get on here. So
of course he is.
He's finally wiped all the chocolate biscuit off his face that I saw him eating earlier, but he's coming to sit down with us.
What a chunker. What a chunky, greedy boy. We have had the wonderful Neil Kerr join us in. For those who don't know Neil is the head judge for the WTC. Pretty prestigious and well-loved gentleman living he's a Scot living in Sweden. An amazing man. Mr. Dan Savage, how you doing, my brother? Push to talk, please.
How you going, Adam? Can you hear me, mate?
I can. You're a little bit loud. You tone back your enthusiasm.
Mate, I'm just I'm a bit sweaty after some keepers just absolutely ruined my opponent's soul.
They did the biz. I went to you on turn 1. I'm like, oh, that keeper's on the other side of the board. Whose army does that belong to? And I was like, yeah, that's rough. How'd you feel going into that matchup? I feel like with this mission in particular really favored you, and going first, you were just like, sweetest plum.
To be honest, mate, I was happy with either going first or second. I wasn't too worried about it. The thing is making him split wide. As soon as his flank was really soft on one side, I basically opened it up that I could completely open out the whole army and then block his deep strike of his obliterators and Abaddon.
So where did they end up coming down, if at all, or did they just walk on from the back line?
Oh, they were so far in the left field. They were in their own area code.
Yeah. So I saw what you did. You contained him into a quarter of the board, dominated the bottom right-hand corner, and it essentially kept him contained. And I saw his secondaries. He took scramblers, he took line breaker, and I was just like, oh man, Dan's just licking his chops. He's like, there's 30 points you're never going to get, brother, or 25.
Well, to be honest, at the end there, he did pick up his scrambler, but that was just due
fantastic.
to me. That was due to me. Just the obliterators and the terminators went in the far left field, and I just left his whole army to one side. If he had to push the disco up too fast, I was going to use mental interrogation on it and basically just start racking up points there. He held it back, which was a smart move, and then pretty much what happened is I just rolled on from the left flank to the right and just started getting into him.
You able to tell us the philosophy behind this? So we were discussing your list before, and I personally think it's one of the strongest at the event. But what's your philosophy behind the Exalted Flamers? Because they're a new addition to your archetype, aren't they?
They're my banner scorers. They'll pick up the put up banners for me, but also in the matchups with the Satans and Gazkul, they add another dimension of damage to my list, so I can cause enough
Shooting
damage
phase,
every
fighting
phase.
combat phase. Exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that is a big deal. Because of course, banners it only needs to be infantry. It doesn't have the character exclusion that Scramblers does. So yeah, they're great. They move what 8 inches per turn as well.
They are fly. To be honest, I think they're 12-inch move. They might be 10 though. 12.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like flamers are a weird one. They're not 12. They're like 8 or 10 or some shit. But anyway, yeah, well thought out, man. Good idea.
Cheers,
As for the keepers, so you got 2 keepers. Are you rolling for your? I didn't look at your list to see if you're rolling for your traits or just picking them. What have you gone for them?
I've got the -1 to wound from range attacks one, and I've got one rolling. On 2d6 on the chart.
Nice. I think that's the best way to go. Or that -1 is just too freaking good against too many opponents to leave it on the shelf and risk not having it. But yeah, the other everything else is just so good. You can just go for it, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely you look at that and you go with the AdMech matchup. That -1 to wound keeper will carry the game. So he's a staple in the list. The 2d6 gives you the higher chance of maybe getting another -1 to wound one, or you have the 4-up invo. There is really not that many bad traits.
Exactly right. Of the armies at the event, is there any list that you're particularly worried about?
Yeah, Hayden Walduck's Raven Guard. That terrifies me with that +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
Against all your big stuff, it's actually fearsome. Two turns of that, and then he can jump back into it for 2 CP every turn with adaptive tactics. That on the, I was thinking about that on the auto gets around your -1 to wound, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. And the thing is it makes me think twice about closing with him. It is a tough matchup. It's one of the ones that I will avoid. But if I get it, then I've got my own idea about how I'm going to approach it.
Well, I'm the guy I think I called your last game between the two of you, and it's the best game of 40k I've ever had the pleasure of calling of 9th edition. So I hope I get to see you play it again. But if I don't, so be it, mate. I think we'll probably pull the plug on this stream for now. I'll rest my throat. Let Nick have some lunch and take a rest, and Luke can continue being the social butterfly, useless bastard he is, not helping us in any way. Jake, he's doing some great work.
He's 100% running around getting all the scores and about to fix a table. So.
What a slacker. Totally facetious there.
Take it easy, you legend. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you very much, Dan. Good luck with the rest of the event. All right, Nick, you feel free to hit that end stream button. Thank you so much to those who have joined us. We'll be back in probably about half an hour, 45